So welcome in everybody. I just had a peek at the number of people here and I'm freaking out now. There's 247 people. Maybe we'll get past 250. Wow, that would be a record. It already is a record. So thank you everybody for tuning in today. This is super, super exciting. I'm Erin, for those who don't know me, and tonight I'll be teaching you step by step how to paint this cute little blue jay to my right. There he is. This painting does not have a name. I already saw a few little title suggestions in the chat. If you'd like to give a title suggestion for the painting, definitely do that now because I will be titling the painting in my YouTube video. I always upload my tutorials to YouTube after I do them live. If you're interested in that, you can do !YouTube in the chat. You can go subscribe to my YouTube channel and be notified anytime I post new videos. All of my tutorials end up there. There are lots there already. Death by Zamboni, thank you for the follow. Quite the name. How does the tutorial work? I'll actually be painting this with you step by step. So right now you see a still image. You can see my little mouse here. But if I switch ta-da-da-da to here, you can see a live image right here. So I have the original painting up, but I will be replacing it with a blank canvas so that I can actually paint with you step by step. So you'll see the original above me. I'm over here. I'm small because I'm not as important. And then you have a nice big version of what I'm painting so you can watch me and follow along if you wish. With that being said, Poppy was saying earlier, no pressure. If you don't want to paint exactly what I'm painting, that's okay. I love the idea that maybe this just inspires people to do some art on a Friday night. Some people do completely different things. Maybe they're painting with oils or watercolors or just doodling or something. That's kind of the whole point. I just want this to be a nice, fun Friday evening thing we can all do online safely while quarantining. So yeah, thanks so much for coming in. In terms of supplies, everybody, I keep it the same every single time. Sorrel, thank you for resubscribing. I'm just in the middle of my intro, so I'll thank you properly later. But yeah, supplies, I always use the same supplies with every single tutorial. I always use up to 5 paint colors, but today we only have 4. We'll be using black, white, phthalo blue, and red. I know red is kind of a throw-off one, but we use a teeny bit of red for this color here. In terms of brushes, I'll show you my brushes in case anybody's interested. I always use 3, just of 3 different sizes. I have a large flat one, I have a medium round one, and I have a small round one. So you can see just 3 different sizes. That's really what I recommend. The shapes don't matter quite as much. I'd recommend a cup of paint water so you can be washing off your brushes. A paper towel or a towel is good. I just have this towel that I constantly use. And then hopefully you have an apron or you're wearing something you don't mind getting paint on. Shout out Terry for the apron as always, thank you. She made one with my logo on it. It's super cute. I think that's everything. I guess I'll just shout out my other social medias. If anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, I'm erinbunpaints on Instagram. It's a great way to see all of my past tutorial designs, and if you're interested in my artwork, I'm starting to post my own personal artwork there, bullet journal things, so that's my Insta. And then Facebook is always a good place to follow me too, if you like keeping up, especially with the tutorials, because I'll post Facebook events, so you can kind of plan ahead and RSVP to those. erinbunpaints on Facebook as well. Just had to plug those real quick. I think that's my little spiel though. I'll just catch up on comments. We'll do a quick little toast and then we will officially start painting. Thank you for your patience for my spiel. So what we're doing first is we're going to do the background. So the background of our original is a nice streaky gray. You can kind of see there's some lighter, some darker spots. That was just kind of completely, I guess, natural as I was blending. It wasn't really specific streaks in specific places. It was just kind of using different shades of gray as I moved along the canvas. The brush I would recommend using is the large flat brush. Just any big brush is a good idea to use for the background because we're doing lots and lots of painting. I would dip your brush in the water to begin with. And then on your plate, I would mix together white and black. So you're making a nice light gray. So you want to use lots of white with just a teeny bit of black. It's always easier to darken a color than it is to lighten, so I always recommend just using a tiny bit of black until you have the shade you want, rather than starting with too much and then trying to reverse-y. So I'm pouring on my volcano plate, which is no longer a volcano, but it'll get there. I'm just using a little bit of black, mixing into a large pile of white. Lots of cheers, yeah. Old Miller, yes, hello, welcome in. Cheers, says Jen. Wine here, no tea. Excellent, Sharon. Incredible hunk alive. Welcome in with those drinks. Are those beers? I can't tell. Drink up. Kim's got some tea. Hooky mama woot. After a cheers or 2 or 3 or 258, that's a little more accurate. I'm not a streaky gray, sorry. Whoa! Oh, it's okay. All grays are beautiful grays. Cheers, I'll be in volcano. It'll be a volcano in a few years. It'll be a volcano, I think, sooner than that. Alright, lots of light gray, everybody, and I'm just starting by going up and down on my canvas. Up and down. So I was talking about the streaky gray. So right now it's pretty much one shade of gray. Not the best shade of gray, she's in the chat. We're gonna just add this a little bit, and then what we can do is we can keep mixing, you know, new grays, just maybe slightly darker or slightly lighter, and just kind of continue adding as we make them slightly darker or slightly lighter. So you can grab a little bit more black, maybe mix it into a new gray, start to streak up and down, going on top of what you have or starting in a new spot, and you can see it starts to get a little lighter, a little darker. And because we're doing this nice kind of wet on wet here, so doing wet paint and more wet paint, you can blend them together. You can use your brush and kind of allow them to combine so you get more of a smooth transition in between. It doesn't look stripy, just kind of looks soft and streaky. So feel free to do that as much or as little as you like. You can even just say, I don't want streaks, I just want the same gray the whole way. You can try your best to keep the same shade of gray all the way across. But I embrace the streaks. I think they look kind of nice to have a little bit of light, a little bit of dark going on. So I'm purposely mixing different grays as I go and just kind of adding beside. All right, so a nice straightforward step to start. Just have fun with it, especially if it's your first time painting in a while. This will be a nice step to just kind of get used to the paint a little bit. Brush it around, have some fun as it's still wet. You can keep blending away. You can wrap this around your canvas as well, so you can have like the top edge done, you can do the side edge, get it all done. Spread all the paint everywhere on your canvas. Try not to get it everywhere, but on your canvas is fine. And yeah, up and down still. So when do we get Erin advice commands? What would those look like, Poppy? Technology pain in the butt. Susan Mama, welcome in. Is there anything wrong with Twitch, or is it something on your end? Can we help you with anything? In about 5 years. You should paint more than... I think so, Destiny. That's kind of what I'm implying. I think maybe I'll be painting more than I was in those 5 years where Volcano Plate came to be. So who knows? Who really knows? Gray is the best shade of gray. That's why I said it. Are we opening bets? I mean, that would be a fun idea. I feel like we're kind of far from... I guess placing bets if it could be years, but that's okay with me. If you guys want to place your bets now, that's fine. The bet would be what? By the time second Volcano Plate reaches first's height and weight, probably? Something like that. I would bet within 4. I would bet maybe within 3, just based on the rate that I'm painting. I'm painting a lot. Everyone, just another tip, if you want, you can be dipping your brush in the water. I like doing that here and there, especially for background colors, because it helps spread the paint. Otherwise, it can be a little bit thick at times. It can be a little bit sticky as it's trying to dry. So just kind of giving a little dip in the water and tapping off. It helps keep the paint a little bit more wet so it can spread a little bit nicer. Spread the paint everywhere on your canvas. Silent, I'm glad you caught that. For any of the younger audience watching, don't spread it everywhere. Just on the canvas. Spread it everywhere on the canvas. Thank you. And Silent, welcome in. I saw you were gifted a sub earlier, so you're a bun now. Yahoo! Listen. Update on my iPad, then just Gerb made it. Excellent. Okay. That's alright. Yep, updates always get us. It actually, I had to update my streaming software right before going live, and I was panicking because I saw the minutes ticking away. I was like, why do I always do this? Why do I leave opening everything up for 3 minutes beforehand? It doesn't make sense. So I feel your pain, but I'm glad you made it. We'll stick around until it becomes a volcano event. Again, excellent. I believe, buns forever. Like the little bit about it being easier to make the paint darker. Oh, okay. Or keeping paint mostly on the canvas, just, you know, little quotes. I got you. Okay, Poppy. Kind of like, in addition to the Bob quote, it can just be like sporadic Erin advice from past tutorials. I get it. Just completely in random. Yeah. That could be funny. I would need to keep track. I would need to be writing down a lot, but I can do that. Or others can. Number 5 at art. No way! No way! Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. Woo 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 woo! So for those wondering, just in case, this is why viewing me helps. Made of Wood in chat just said, we're number 5 in the art category overall right now, which is huge. That means that more people can find me, follow me, potentially support me. So just viewing me helps us kind of raise up in Twitch's recommended in those little recommended charts, most viewed charts. So again, thank you everyone for being here. And if you want to support me further, watching me on any other day helps me just like that. It helps me raise up those little charts in the art category. So thank you for pointing that out, Wood. Could keep track in a bullet journal. Probably. I could make a spread for it. Oh, now you know, Poppy. You know how to get to me. Make a spread for it, Erin. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, yes, it would. Ah, don't embarrass her, guys. Kappa. We behave. It's Friday night. You guys always behave. Stop it. You guys are always nice. Stop it. Relaxing this evening. I'm glad, Lori. I'm glad. And I hope this week was good to be back. Good potatoes. Good tomatoes tonight. Again, implying you never are good otherwise. No. Please. They can turn into merch like magnets or stickers. Like the little quotes, you mean? Tip, remember. Tip number 35. We can have a whole series of them. Alright, so everyone, you can see I have my streaky background. No rush. I know I probably put that on a little bit quicker than most, so I'm going to give you lots of time to keep playing around. I'll just show you, at this point, if you want to keep adding streaks, you definitely can. As long as your gray is still wet, you can keep piling paint on top and softly blend it in. So I'll give you a quick example here. I'm just going to make a slightly darker gray on my plate, and I'll maybe put it here. You can see it comes off a little bit dark to begin with, but as I stroke up and down, it starts to blend into the gray and just kind of softly, softly blend in. So it's not as much of a harsh streak, it's just more of a, just a little blended area there. Yeah, and then that way you get a little bit of variation across rather than one solid gray. So just a suggestion, you can do the same thing with light gray too, or even white. If you use white, for example, it will blend into the gray as long as it's dry. So it might turn out a little bit bright to begin with, but then it starts to blend in and become just a nice light gray on top. So feel free to keep experimenting if your paint is still wet. If it's not wet, I'd recommend just leaving it alone. If it's getting to the sticky stage, I'd recommend leaving it alone because it won't blend as nicely. All right, but otherwise just keep adding paint if you want to keep adding and keep blending away. I'll give a couple of minutes at least and then we'll move on. Same here with me, girl. Unfortunately, we have embarrassed her on Friday night a long time ago, so we try to be in our best behavior now. Yes, I had a stern conversation that one evening. That's where listen came to be. No, come on, that was just for fun. I swear, I wasn't, no. Arbitrary numbering system makes them even better. Gotta collect them all, true. Do you know all the rules? Do you know all the advice and tips? We don't talk about the incident. Looking like birch trees. True. It's almost like trees in the background silent. Good call out. Kind of like birch trees just fading in. Exactly. Even more layers of trees. Perfect. The incident. When I add paint like this to blend in a different color, it always ends up a bad texture with brush streaks. Excuse me, Destiny. I wonder if that's because maybe the paint is a little bit sticky at that stage, because if you try right now on my canvas, for example, I'd love to show you, but it will kind of like tear up the paint a bit. It kind of like grabs and doesn't go on smoothly. I'm wondering if that's what you're seeing, kind of the texture with the brush strokes. You might want to add a little bit of water or just do another fresh coat of paint before doing the streaky part. Just my idea. What's behavior? Tackles chat. Welcome in, Todd. Nice to see you. Listen. Okay, but I'll ask. Oh, you're fine, Destiny. It really was nothing. What even was it? I can't even recall context. We have, I think I saved the video though. I'm gonna look that up soon. That was so long ago. Should just add quotes to remember these tips. It's true. I think that's what we're implying, Mizzy. It would be like a quote command or something, just to keep track of all of them. All I know is it wasn't my fault. It was Wood's. Yeah, it's really sticky and looks like dry brushing. Yeah, I think that's all it is, Destiny. I think it just needs to, you just need to be a bit quicker when adding the second color. Otherwise, you can just make sure you re-add the first color. Sometimes I go in sections for that reason. I won't do the whole canvas and then go back. I'll do like the first third. I'll do the base layer and then the streaks. Base layer, streaks. Especially with white paint, because when you're doing white paint and then streaking and stuff, it can be really obvious when something, again, looks textured like you said, so. Oh yeah, Hoki's saying, are you using heavy body paints? That might be a thing. Maybe they're a little bit thicker, harder to blend with. We were being silly while you were trying to teach Facebook. Oh, but that happens every night. What are you talking about? I kind of remember, Gray. I think it was poop related. Not really. I'm using Liquitex Basics. I think they're between medium heavy. I would say they're heavier than what I use, in which case, Destiny, I would maybe water it down a little bit just for the kind of look that I'm doing, because I'm using pretty thin paint for this, and I'm wondering if it would work better with thin. Having major internet issues. Oh no, Marion. It's just giving me a constant refresh circle in the middle. No paint tonight, I guess, night errand. Sorry, Marion. All good, though. You can always watch another time, of course, so thanks for hanging out. I hope that improves later. Yeah, I think I'd add water, too. I have that issue, too. Basics are medium. Destiny, if you want to blend, just add a bit of water. Perfect! I think that might be your solution. Quicker and just more water. This bird is scaring me. Ecstasy. Don't you worry. We'll have lots of time for the bird. Don't worry. That's why I made this painting a little more simple everywhere else. We were actually debating adding a second bird, and I said, no, I think we'll just do the branches. We'll just focus on the one blue jay so we can go very slowly, step by step. Duchess, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Karen, I missed you as well. Thanks for the follow. Kind of having you make vocal notes for me while I rewatch this. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Exactly. No, that's perfect. That's why I recommend people join in Destiny, even if they're not painting now. You can ask questions, and then when you're watching it back, I'll be talking to you. Hi, Destiny on YouTube. Like, isn't that weird? No worries, Christy. Have a great evening. Jay Hunter, joined late. Need to catch up. What did I miss? We just put some light gray on the canvas, so I mixed together lots of white with a teeny bit of black, went up and down with my large flat brush, and then I kind of varied some different shades of gray. So I did a little bit of a darker gray brushing up and down, a little bit of a lighter gray brushing up and down. That's pretty much it. I'll be moving on in about a minute, but if you want to start with that, I can always keep catching you up. How much water equals? I don't know, because I use heavy body. True. Yeah, and I'm just used to the thin paint, so I don't ever really use water. I kind of dip my brush in the water, but not to actually thin out the paint. Charlene, you wanted, I don't know. I'm going to be probably focusing more on St. Patrick's Day for that area, because I know it was close to that. But if you still have ideas, I'm down to hear them just in general. I'm trying to be faster and add a bit more water. Yeah, sometimes it's all about speed, Destiny, for sure. You're welcome, Christy. Have a good evening. Again. A nice Friday night. Okay, I'm going to start adding some branches, everybody. So I have lots to say about branches, just I know a few of you already expressed that branches and trees are difficult for you, getting all the nice thin streaks, the thin strokes. So I have a lot of different tips and tricks for you. Hopefully some of them, or at least one of them, work. And otherwise you can just kind of experiment. Hopefully it gives you the confidence to try it out, and then if you find your own way of doing things, that's totally fine. That's kind of the point of art, is just finding your own way to make what you want. So I'll guide you and you can kind of continue from there. So I'm going to keep using the same brush. I like using the large flat brush. Despite all of these branches being very thin, this big brush really comes to a nice thin, thin lineup of bristles here. Because the bristles are a little bit longer, they have a chance to really spread out into a nice thin section here. So I love using this for my branches. On your plate, I would mix together some white and black again. You want to make a light gray again, but a little bit darker than your background. So it's still kind of on the light range, so probably mostly white with a little bit of black, but you want it to be slightly darker than your background. Could do blue horizontally instead of gray, add lightning bugs for summer. Yup, true. Yeah, I feel like this one's a good customized one too. I'm a bit slow sometimes. Oh, you're fine. I just learned over the years, Destiny, to paint quicker, especially with acrylics. With oils, you don't need to go speedy, but with acrylics, sometimes you do. There are ways around it. I've even heard there are mediums that allow the acrylic paint to take longer to dry, but I don't use any mediums. I've just kind of learned learned to speed up certain techniques. You don't need to be speedy with everything, but just with blending, kind of wet on wet stuff, I find it helps to be a little faster. Lupe, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Doing a step-by-step tutorial right now. If you have questions, let me know. All right, so I have my new gray on my brush. what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some twigs. Again, you can see in the reference lots of twigs coming in from the edges, so I'm just going to start layering them on. You don't need to follow the exact spots I'm putting them, of course. You can kind of mix it up. Just use the techniques that I teach you, and then you can just kind of continue on with the techniques and add them wherever you want. What time does the painting start? Is it 7 p.m.? Oh, we started at 8 p.m. EST, actually, so we're already started, Tracy. Yeah, that's okay, Tracy. If you have any questions, let me know. We have just done the background so far. You can even click this video, Tracy, and go back to the start if you need to, just so you know. I'll talk to you more in a second. All right, here's my gray. I'm going to use the thin edge of the brush kind of straight at the canvas like this. I can even twist the canvas so you can see a little bit better in a second. But what I'm doing is I'm starting with an angled line coming out. I'm pressing down with my brush and with a little bit of pressure. As I move over to the right, I'm releasing pressure and just kind of allowing the bristles to kind of flick off. So in order to flick them, what I do with my handle of the brush is I start to move it the opposite way. So if I'm going to the right with my bristles, I'll move my handle to the left. And then that way the bristles all kind of flick off of the canvas and create a nice little point. So with my branches, I always like to start with one like that. I just kind of thickened up the start. I always make sure that the start of the branch is the thickest part and it gets thinner and thinner as it goes. And then what I like to do is maybe add a twig or two to that. So just a couple. I never really overload it with lots and lots of twigs. But here we go. To add a twig, what I do is I just go across that original branch. I'll start to either go a little bit further down or further up. I'm choosing down, so I'm splitting it into a V shape. And then once again, kind of flicking my bristles by moving the handle back, and I have another nice little tip. So with these branches and with most branches that I do, I always recommend kind of looking for V shapes. I think those look a little bit more natural. Makes it look like the branch is kind of splitting away, separating from the original branch. So I think, again, it just looks a little more natural. So I recommend trying that, kind of using your existing branch and then slowly moving away either up or down. Why I love oils. Ahoy flying socks, but I see you there. J Ton, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. We're doing a tutorial right now. If you have questions, let me know. We almost said ahoy when answering telephone calls instead of hello. How cool would that have been? Ahoy! It's so much friendlier. Seems more complicated. I'm scared of all the extra products for oils. Yeah, Destiny, that's why I don't usually use them too. There's a lot of extra stuff. They're still fun, but yeah, it's a little bit of a learning curve with setting up and stuff like that. Thank you, Destiny, for explaining. That's very helpful. All right, here we go. So I'll do another one. I'll go from the right-hand side this time. Again, thin edge of the brush, pressing down a little hard to begin with. As I move to the left, I'm going to release pressure, moving my handle to the right and allowing the bristles to flick off. You can see at the end I literally go flick. If it helps you to make a noise with your mouth, do it. Flick. Boo. Whatever you want. It helps me paint, so make some noises if that helps you. I'll do a nice big branch maybe coming off to the top here. And the branches can, of course, wiggle. They don't all need to be perfectly straight. I like kind of moving them right, a little bit of left, a little bit up, a little bit down. So feel free to get creative that way. You can make them really go wherever you want. There's another. There's another. I really like them just nice and flowy. These branches, at least, I kind of made them a little bit more, you know, they're not quite as sharp everywhere. There's no harsh angles. They just kind of flow. They're a little bit wavy here and there. So nice and soft, really. I'll go back to the left-hand side, do another here. I'll give you another angle just so you can see my bristles. So using the thin edge of the brush, pressing down. Maybe I'll go a little down this time, and then I'm moving my handle left and then flicking off. Flicking off. Not sure if that helped, but at least a different angle. Maybe that did help a little bit. Same thing, I'm just going to thicken up the edge or the start of the branch a little bit, make it a little wider. Maybe I'll extend it a little bit more. And then I'll just continue to add a couple little V shapes. There's one, there's two, there's a little guy at the end there. So yeah, you can see I'm just trying to make them all a little bit different from one another. No branch will be the exact same. Some will have more twigs, some will have less. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. Let's do a nice big long one over here. And remember, these are just the background ones, so you can really experiment with these. They will just be overlapped with even darker branches, so these can be covered up if you need to, if there's any slight kind of edges that you don't like, or maybe there's a little twig that was a little bit thick for your liking, you can always cover it later. So a good little experimentation phase. So really don't worry if there's anything that you don't like or if there's a mistake. You can always fix that up later. For now, we'll call it a happy accident, as Bob says. Someone will be giving us a tip that we almost said hello, answering instead of ahoy. Probably thought the lockdown was a bit hard for you. A bit more dealing with oils. Yes, Tracy, it can. Thank you, Gray, for answering. You can watch here on Twitch for a little bit. Click on Erin's name. Then the different tabs will appear. Click on the video tab, and then you can see the current video that's playing, or you can go to YouTube. Thank you, Gray, for answering. Flow didn't become high until telephone arrived. Oh, interesting. Dang, I wish we had a hoy. Oh, Quilter Mom, does your background have to be dry before you do your twigs? It doesn't have to be totally dry. Good question. Mine is still a little bit wet. I would say it's kind of sticky. Robbie Wheat, thanks for the follow and welcome in. Yeah, I would describe mine as sticky. I don't think it should be, you know, fresh at all, because your brush might be kind of interfering with that. It might be kind of piling the paint as it wipes through the wet paint. Otherwise, the gray should stick on top, so if you use a little bit more paint, that should be fine. I would just be worried that it's kind of shifting the background paint around and it might create kind of a ridge here and there. Some people don't mind that, though. Sometimes ridges provide a little more texture. Like, I'm a fan of texture, especially in this painting where you have lots of branches and stuff going on, so if that's not an issue, then yeah, you can just paint when it's wet. That's okay. Yep, Destiny, you've got it. Thank you. No, you're fine. Everyone's yeah, good to answer questions. I appreciate it all. Never grab enough white. Yeah, the Hokeball, that is the, that's the constant struggle, isn't it? Just not pouring enough white, running out of white. It seems like white is always the first one I run out of as well. Other tips I have for you for getting nice thin branches or thin lines. I find prepping your brushes very important. Rather than just like slamming it in the paint and then expecting to get a nice thin line, I would brush the paint on, so you're kind of like flattening your brush as you do it. You can flatten on the side if you want, and that just kind of sets you up for success with all the bristles nicely lined up. Sometimes thinning out the paint helps a little bit, so we were just talking a little bit about kind of thicker bodied paints. Especially if you have a thicker body paint, I would probably be dipping your brush in the water just a little bit, maybe wiping some more paint on. And then that way you're thinning out the paint a little bit. I find it just glides a little bit easier when it's thinner. So if you're having trouble with thick paint, or it's kind of running out on the way and you're finding you're going back for every little teeny inch, try thinning out the paint. You'll get things like this. You'll be able to go right across because it's nice and thin. So you kind of ran out there. Yeah, just need to get a little bit more. But yeah, it allows you to kind of lengthen your stroke a little bit with the thinner paint. I'll do maybe a little guy right here. Just peeking in, saying hello. And this is all the same gray still, everybody. I'm still kind of stacking up this medium gray. We'll be doing black next. We only do 2 layers of branches, just to give you a heads up. So if you want more of these gray ones in the background just to fill up space, I would keep going. I'm gonna add maybe a couple more myself. And yeah, again, feel free. You can kind of angle some very steep up, steep down, just to kind of change it up a little bit. Maybe I'll do one kind of coming down like that. And if you're not liking the big brush, maybe the big brush is causing you trouble, try a different brush. Try a different brush. All here to help. Here's the color, my friend B-Rad. Thank you for the question. That's my color there, right in the middle of everything. Hopefully that helps you. Branch diversity is important. I've had paintings look strange for having 2 similar. Yeah, exactly. No pressure, just relax and watch it happen. No worries, Tracy. Thank you, Vonda. He says happy little trees. I don't know if he ever like named it, but that's what he calls them. It's always going to be ahoy for me. Not all the time, but it's fun to say. I always appreciate it, Flying Socks, but it is very you to say ahoy. Yeah, of course, Tracy. I know it can be a lot for some. Like it's great to be here, but I know there's a lot of other things going on Twitch. You might see some other things like, you know, below my video, you might see things popping up occasionally, and everyone's always like, what are those? Don't be afraid to ask. Everyone was new at one point. I was new just 7 months ago, 8 months ago, excuse me, to Twitch. I didn't know any of this stuff 8 months ago, so please feel free to ask. We would love to get you in the know. I got a tons of paint nights. This will rock. Too late to shoot. Got too late to shoot. No worries. Yeah, no worries. Next time, you'll know to be here around 8 p.m. EST or a little before, and then you'll be good to paint. AEO, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I have a sparkle silver left here, and beige and white for the background. I just do like a gray for the background. You could totally do beiges though. Christina, does the quality of the canvas make a big difference? I would say no. For context, I'm using the canvas from Michaels. It comes in 5 packs of 16 by 20 size. They're about $3 each, I would say. And I would say those aren't high quality, and they do me just fine. I love them. Occasionally you get one with a little bit of a hole in it. If you do, just go back to Michaels. They're happy to replace it more often than not. But yeah, I would say I don't buy the most expensive canvases. I have used dollar store canvases, and I think they've worked great. So, totally not. And even canvases, you don't need a canvas. You could even use just a thick paper. I know some of us are in heavy lockdown depending on where we're living, and some people don't have access to these supplies. You can use cardboard. You can use just a thin piece of paper. Use your wall if you want. It doesn't matter. You can use really whatever you want. You have black too. Excellent. Hasn't for me, plus if you yes, exactly. Flying sock squid makes a good point. Gesso is a good primer for pretty much any surface. I'm just deciding if I want to add a couple more branches. I don't want to clutter this up too much. Let's do like one more intersecting, and I'll do one more on the right hand side. Excuse me, you can see that I am leaving them pretty far apart, but here and there I'll intersect just to kind of spice it up a little bit. Some of them are crisscrossing over top of one another. Maybe this one goes way over there. And as you do more, you'll get more comfortable. You'll be able to kind of be a little more daring with where the branches are going, still making them look nice and flowy. I think that's pretty good, because we'll have a whole other layer of branches. Thanks, guys. Sparkle silver, 6 p.m. No worries, Tracy. Yeah, we're all in different time zones. I think that would work. I'm using a gray, but a silver kind of sounds pretty similar, especially if it's sparkly. I bet it'll look beautiful. My canvas is loose. I should have paid more. Using paper at the moment. Yeah, there you go. Mizzy's using paper. Hokey, sometimes if it's loose, you can kind of tighten it. I don't know if it's maybe a dent that you have. I've been able to put water on the back. Just like dip your finger in water and kind of rub it on the back. And I think what it does is it, like, when it dries, it tightens the canvas a bit. So if you're seeing little dents, try that. Mama, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. 60. I think they're about $3 each. They come in the 5 packs. That's in Canada though, so if you're in a different country, it might be slightly different. Spray water. Yeah, Miko knows. Spray water on the back, let it dry. There you go. Better idea rather than just like using your finger. If it's all over loose, try spraying it with water. Nice thing about dollar store canvas is that they're ½ an inch deep, and therefore you can do more paintings rather than using 1 inch. Oh, there you go. Cool. Sonia, I use rocks a lot all the time. Paint can be very forgiving. A lot of people paint on rocks, then they hide them around and people find them. It's a really sweet idea. Jill, we're back at it again with another tutorial on a Friday night. Can you hear my voice going? Welcome in. Excited to actually see you get this bourbon there. Yeah! He'll come up soon. He'll come up soon. We gotta lay down all the groundwork, but welcome in. Okay, cool. Thanks. Did you mix black and white? Yes, exactly, Tracy. Mostly white with a little bit of black. Just sprayed my canvases tonight. I spray the back with a spray bottle, hit the hair dryer, tightens it right up. Perfect. Hokey, you're getting lots of good advice. Tarpan Caravan, welcome in. Nice name. I like the flow of that. I'm doing a step-by-step tutorial right now. If you have any questions, let me know. No dent, just sags. Okay. I think everyone else giving their advice with the spraying of the water is good then. Canvas size, 8x10, 9x12. But so you're using bigger ones. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? How do you feel? Those will be fine, Destiny, especially because they're a little bit more rectangular for my tutorials. That'll be easier to follow along rather than square ones, for example. I actually bought 9x12s recently too. I just use this size because I happen to have a lot of them for reasons. So I'm trying to use them all. I would probably use smaller ones here and there, but I just have an overload of these ones. I bought them in large quantities and I'm trying to use them up. So that's really the only reason I do that. And it's to stay consistent too, so that people always know I'm using a 16 by 20. I'm not switching it around as much. I think 8 by 10s, 9 by 12s would be perfect for my tutorials though, Destiny, so all good. Hello, Shay. Happy Friday. How's it going? How's it going? I'm just shouting out Joe real quick. You're getting lots of shout outs today, dude. Check out Joe if anybody hasn't. I'm sure you have. Great art streamer. Mine did. Brave Bottle worked amazingly. Cool, cool, cool. You're welcome, Tarpan Caravan. Excited to see this tutorial. Cool, cool. I'm excited you're here. I don't use a sprayer, but I will paper towel lightly. Yeah, that works too. Sweet, so you had a tooth pull today. I went to the dentist this week too, but no teeth pulling for me. Did it hurt? 9 by 12s. There you go. Allie uses them. They work perfectly. 1620 is a good size. I'm preferring 11 by 14. There you go. Yeah, good mid-size, exactly. Not too small, not too big. I think everyone kind of finds their size the more they practice, so all good. I think this bird will be great on the tiny paintings I do. Yeah, little mini bird. You so sweet. No, you're very, very welcome. Love supporting the fellow art streamers. They all deserve the love. They deserve it. All right, I think I've left enough time for this first layer of branches, so I'm just going to move on to the second layer now, everybody. And second layer is pretty much the same thing, just a different color. So if you're still working on this layer of branches, I would just keep going, really take your time with it. This painting, again, there's a lot of time allotted to just kind of like stacking on those branches, getting them all just right in the way you want them. So keep using your kind of medium light gray for the branches if you need to. Otherwise, I'm going to skip right over to black. I only did 2 layers. You can see there's just the gray ones in the background, and then we go right into black on top. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm using the large flat brush. I did wash it off, just more for the sake of kind of reshaping it, because black and gray are similar colors, so we're not really like cleaning the brush off. It's more so just removing the paint so we can get that nice thin edge back. Again, prepping the brush is important for these thin lines. So grabbing plain black paint, and I'm going to do the same thing, just new branches. I'm obviously going to try not to completely overlap some unless I hate it. You can try again with black. But mainly what I'm doing is I'm just kind of adding more wherever I want to fill up space. I guess the only other thing I'm doing is I'm probably making these a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, because they are the foreground branches. So technically they would probably be a little bit thicker here and there. Some thick branches. So, you know, you can see I'm just going over top 1 or 2 more times, especially at the start, to thicken it up. Maybe making them a little bit longer, because again, they're closer to us, so they're going to be a little bit bigger overall. But same techniques, using the thin edge of the brush, a little bit of pressure, releasing pressure as I get to the end, sticking to my V shapes. Anything, again, kind of naturally parting away. You can do little ones, you can do long ones, doesn't matter. And then moving on to a new section. Before it gets too cluttered, I'd recommend choosing a branch for your blue jay to land on, so I'm going to do that now, actually. My blue jay in my original is kind of sitting in the bottom right, so you can see I started a branch, I would say about 1/3 of the way up, so maybe about here. And I did a nice big one, so I made it nice and thick, I made it nice and long. In fact, it goes all the way across the canvas just to make it nice and big and sturdy for our blue jay friend. So I do the same thing. You can start with a nice thin line and just kind of, again, wiggling along. Like I said before, it doesn't need to be perfectly straight. You can kind of wiggle it up and down a bit. Let's go all the way across. I'm going to thicken up the start, because that's where the start of the branches is the thickest part, so I want to make sure the viewer knows where the branch is starting versus where it's ending and getting thinner. You can see my branch is a little bit angled for my blue jay. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight. I'm sure he can hang on with his little feet right there. And then I'll add some other branches. Maybe I'll separate this way. Catch up in comments in a second. Just going all the way across. So no harm in going all the way across. I think that makes it look a little more natural rather than all the branches just happening to stop in the middle, right? You want to have a couple maybe overlapping and intersecting. So that's my big branch, and I'm just going to keep adding slowly but surely. Len's Mills sold out of the 6-packs. Oh no! Yes, that was Charlene's favorite place to go, was Len's Mills, excuse me. Sweets. It hurt a lot. Oh no, the tooth pull, it cracked in half on Friday. Ouch! Ouch. Well, I'm glad it's out now. I'm sure it was more painful having it in there, so quick recovery to you, I hope. But yeah, I finally got to the dentist this week after like 2 years, because my original cleaning was set for like April of last year, and we all know that we were unable to go anywhere in April of last year. So, yeah, finally went. Got my little speech about needing to floss more, you know, the usual. It's okay though. My teeth feel nice now. My new painting free commission is a pet portrait, 28 by 22. Oh wow, that's quite big. Intimidating, gonna be fun. Yeah, that's good. I think flying socks, but it's good to push yourself like that here and there. And that's one of the reasons I bought a few more canvases at Michael's. I bought smaller ones and I bought bigger ones. So I as well am trying to branch out, if you will, from the original 16 by 20s. Again, I have a lot to use up still, but I still want to be able to make some different things on different sizes. I think it can give a lot more variety rather than seeing the same size every time. To be clear, those won't be tutorial paintings. I'll keep doing tutorials on 16 by 20 for consistency. That is more for personal work that I'm using those different sizes. Just so nobody panics. Dollarama next week if there are no 6-packs. Yeah, I'm sure the dollar store has some. Or order from Michael's. Again, I keep talking about Michael's because they have fantastic curbside pickup. I think it's very lovely what they do there. Very safe in these times. I ordered online, paid online, called when I arrived, didn't even need to get out of my car. They just loaded it up, said thank you, and we were on our way. So that was really, really nice. I just highly recommend. And watch for those coupons. If you get some coupons, you get some good deals there. Oh, so sometimes that happens. Sometimes maybe your branch, or your brush rather, kind of splits at the end. Goes very thick. You can just kind of continue it down, decide it's going to be a thicker branch, or I could have maybe split it up. Sometimes for those little accidents, sometimes I'll whip out the small brush and just use the small brush again to kind of separate them, get some very thin twigs going. So don't panic if that happens. Sometimes your brush betrays you a little bit and decides to split. Creates a thick edge, thick ending to your branch. You can just kind of fix it up with a different brush or the same brush, doesn't matter. Yeah, see how this is slowly filling up just little by little. You're welcome, Charlene. Did a huge canvas sale at Michael's near me. Most of my spending money I set aside for next week is gone. Oof. Yeah, I don't know if Miko we had the same sale, but I took advantage of a buy one get one free. That was good time. The canvas packs were excluded from that deal. In Canada, usually they don't allow coupons for packs of canvas. So the 5 packs of 16 by 20 they call everyday value. Pat Met, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I'm doing a step-by-step tutorial right now. Let me know if you have any questions. But yeah, those never go on sale, but the big boy canvases were on sale. Buy one, get one free. So maybe that's what you were taking advantage of too. Happy accident, exactly. 6 canvases when I ordered for Michael's at the end of January. There you go. Good. You're stocked up. Jay, hi. Yeah, you're T. Newman's mommy, right? I'm glad you're here. Really glad you're here. Hope you're enjoying. I don't know if you're painting along right now, but I hope you're enjoying it anyway. Vonda, I'm still thinking of your ocean painting and how you did the layers to make an awesome paint. Oh, thanks, Vonda. I know you said that in a message recently. I appreciate that. Just to be clear, is it the small one? I want to know which one you're talking about. I don't know if it's this one. I've done a few ocean paintings. I've done a few ocean tutorial paintings. I didn't know if you were talking about this little guy, though. Brush betrayal. Honestly, though, sometimes that's how I feel. Like, I did everything to prep you and you still betrayed me. How could you? Yep, sometimes you don't blame yourself, you just blame the brush. That's fine. I wish my retail years were like what it is today. No customers inside, no mess, just pre-ordered orders and you prepare yourself. I wish. For that 28 by 22, I got 50% off. Nice. Nice. Retail dream. We had $10 any 6. See, you guys get dope deals. Any size. My mom even bought me some. Dang. Yeah, $10 6-pack is unheard of here. So lucky. Mrs. Bondi, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate it. You'll see them come together soon. Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, this was part of, I was doing some little mini paintings a while ago during Buntober. We had a discussion about, not Inktober, that's the good one. Is it Inktober? There's one that's controversial. Inktober's not the one, though. That's the streamer-related one. Good team. I forget what it is. Anyway, we made our own Buntober, and I did a bunch of little tiny pieces with different themes. We had our own themes that we made as a community. And then I attempted to keep up, but I did not. But that was a black hole one. That's the start of my like rainy phase here. We did a nice, I did a nice faded background with some rain on top. Yeah. Lumpy, welcome in. So sorry that the mod bonked you there for ow. How goes everyone? We've approved the term ow about 5 times now, so I don't know what that's all about, but hello. It's my rainy one. And then I got goofy with some. Like one of the themes was happy. I just did Mr. Happy, for example. This theme was noodle. You know, just a bunch of like funky little noodles. So it was good. I didn't keep up with the whole challenge, but it was still a good challenge for me. Can't get enough ocean paintings. Ugh. The person in the water. The person in the water? Which one is that, Vonda? Wait, why can't I remember? The swimmer. There's someone swimming? Why do I not remember my own art? Just enjoy. No worries, Jay Hyde. I'm glad you're here. Dream of having tiles in the ocean, like the ocean wave done for a bathroom. Ooh. Who did I do someone swimming in water? Pat Met, hi, I logged in late, sorry. Will I be able to see a video of this anywhere to paint later? Yes, you will, yes. You can go to YouTube, see that little message below you. There's a YouTube link. I'll be posting this to YouTube in the next in the next week or so. Thank you, Gray, for answering. And yeah, or you can watch it here on Twitch. Those are just small paintings. These are small paintings. The ones I'm showing, Shay, these are not prints. They're like on little canvas boards. Oh, sleeps! Oh, of course! Okay, I guess I wasn't thinking of ocean. I gotcha. The one I did for sleeps. Thanks. Wow, my memory, right? That was this week. It was Sleeps' Redemption. That makes total sense. What painting have I made in the past week that has an ocean? Yeah, I guess ocean wasn't clicking. It's just underwater to me. It totally was. Thanks, guys. Thanks for reminding me of my artistic adventures. Thank you. Everyone knows but me. Oh my god. I would show it, but it's over there. I can get it if we want. Sorry, I'm supposed to make much sense. Oh, it's okay. I meant to say how much you're enjoying. No worries, Jay. It's okay. I always see some typos here and there. You're fine. You're fine. Everyone, I'm just going to add a couple more branches, and then we're actually going to start on our blue jay next, because I like to let the branches dry before adding the snow. So the snow will actually be closer to the end of the tutorial. Oh my gosh. So embarrassing. What did I paint this week? Good tea. I'm drinking. Oh, I wish. I'm drinking water. Straight water, dude. Old Mill, I'm glad you're having a good time. Last week was a long time ago. It was this week, was it not? It was Tuesday night. It wasn't even last week. It was days ago. What painting in the water? Swimming? I don't remember. Again, I can allow myself to say, okay, ocean, that's fair. I didn't quite click with ocean, but swimming, I should have completely been like, oh yes. It's been a week, okay? It's always a week. I'll just leave it at that. Staff, welcome in. Hope all is well. I'm working more than usual. Pretty exhausted. Thank you. Paint one for my mom. She loves birds. Oh, lovely. Yeah, I hope you do, Steph. This is a nice, fun one to do. Again, I think a little more straightforward than a lot of my others, so maybe you will soon. Glad you popped in. Thank you. Glad to hear you're well. I know you said exhausted, but I think that's good to be keeping busy. Haven't seen it finished, the one for sleeps. Oh, okay. I will grab it later. If I have a quick break in the painting, I should keep kind of, keep adding here, but if I have a little break, I will add, or we'll show one off. Show it off. And if not, right at the end of the tutorial, I can do that if somebody reminds me. Because I really was happy with that one. It was a lot of fun. It was a nice challenge. Sister, particle board. Jess makes lots of canvas. There you go. I painted somebody. Dolphins and a mermaid. We almost turned Sleep's painting into a mermaid, actually. Hey, Hey, sissy. Finally getting the gist of the branches. Man, need more practice. I'm glad, Tamara. Yeah, it helps with each and every branch. That's really all it is, though, is just lots of practice, Tamara. I'm sure at this point you probably have the technique down. It's just kind of training yourself to do all those things at once, going nice and slow, thinking about all those steps, because there are a lot of things to think about. I know I throw quite a bit of information saying pressure and the handle and moving things a certain way and going fast or slow, but the more you do it, the easier it gets for sure. Ooh, dolphins, you're into it? This is it? Don't forget to make all the little things individuals, all of them special in their own way. Bob is so right. That's a real Bob Ross quote, by the way, whenever you see the little Bob quote pop up. It's a very real Bob Ross quote. And he's right. I think it's important to make everything just a little bit different. It all kind of, yeah, works cohesively together a little bit better when they're all a little bit different. Otherwise, it makes them look all kind of in a line, all in a row. Every branch is going to be a little bit different in nature, so you should try and do that in your painting too. I just want to keep adding. That's the problem. I want to always keep adding branches. I'll add a couple more teeny ones and then we can move on. I'm sure, again, some of you might be done, some of you might still be adding, so I try and think of everybody at the pace I'm going here. I try and keep these in around 2 hours. We're about an hour in, so we have lots of time for the blue jay still, which is great. Yeah, this is a nice way to kind of keep filling up without adding new branches. You can just work off of the ones you have and add small twigs. So you can see I'm just kind of going around and doing quick little flicks with my brush. Just to add little twigs popping off. It helps kind of make things look a little more delicate, a little more filled up, without adding a brand new branch anywhere, right? Shay, my gosh! 600 bits! Wow, I know it's a little alert, but I see it right there. Shay, thank you so much, my gosh! Party 600, no kidding. I just wanted this. Ah, of course, of course, of course, of course. Do it for the emote. I appreciate you still either way. I'm so glad you have him now. So glad so many people are obtaining that Aaron Boudi. He's so cute. He's one of my favorites. Again, Uwu probably owns my heart right now, but that guy's a close second. Not bad for a fellow that's been gone for over 25 years, for sure. I'm going to embrace my chubby branches. A way to fix chubby branches, if you want, Hoki Mama, you can just make some of them a little longer. If they've already lengthened all the way out, then you'll keep them. But I find if they start thick, as long as you keep lengthening them a little bit more, it'll actually make it appear thinner overall. So if you get a nice thin kind of ending on them, it might kind of thin them out totally. Otherwise, embrace them, as you said. They'll be nice and strong for your nice big blue jay. So true, I had to stop adding branches. Yeah, exactly, Ecstasy. Yeah, I think sometimes people like, do I add more? Do I add full branches? Just do some twigs if you think you need a little more. But otherwise, keep in mind too, you can always go back and add more. So sometimes it's good just to kind of let it sit for a little bit. You can add your bird, you can add some snow, and then add on top if you need to. Oh yes, his words and attitude are timeless. Absolutely. Gray, hello. Would there be more black than gray branches, or should it be balanced? Good question. I think mine is pretty balanced. If I had to guess, maybe I added a few more black ones. I don't think that's right or wrong, though. I don't think that's like in nature you would see more in the foreground, etc. But I think in mine, I would say it's either balanced or slightly leaning towards more black. Good question, though. Yes, I added a picture to the Discord inspo. Oh, thank you. This is it. I appreciate it. Love you. Thanks. I hope you love the painting too, but thank you so much. Really appreciate the slower pace. You're welcome, Sonia. I was worried about not being able to keep up. I'm glad it's a good pace. I think I will move on in the next minute or so, just to make sure nobody's like sitting here for 20 minutes, but I think we're probably all generally in the same area there. Ooh, forever. Thank you, Gray. They match each other and I don't want to mess with them. Yeah, keep it. Exactly. You're fine. I still need to unlock Ooh Pun. Oh boy. He's just waiting. There he is. Come on. He's like, don't you want me? I'm real cute, come on. Oh, it just worked out that way. Again, each one I make ends up being my favorite, so I know they keep getting higher and higher bits-wise, but it's just because I keep making ones that are more in my soul. Uwu Bun is like speaking to my soul forever, so... I know he's up there, but he's there. And he's in Discord in the meantime for everyone to use for free, so that's nice. Alright, so as promised everybody, I'm going to start moving on to the blue jay. Again, promise, I'll go nice and slow. In fact, for the very first step, I just use plain white paint to kind of shape out the bird. So it gives us all a chance to look at the overall shape, kind of fix the outline of the bird, the overall size, and then we're gonna go in with colors. When we start filling them in with blues, I will actually zoom in so you can see a little bit better. For now, I'm just gonna leave it out here because I think perspective-wise it might be a little easier for you to see the size when it's all zoomed out. So that's my strategy. I've switched brushes. I've switched to a medium round brush. If you would rather use a teeny tiny brush, I know some people like that because they like to kind of literally sketch, you know, like with a pen or pencil. You could use a pen or pencil, by the way, as well. Probably a pencil over a pen. But yeah, people paint differently. Some like to go sketch, 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 you know, with small little strokes. Some people like to do bigger strokes like me. So use whatever you're comfortable with. Again, pencil is fine. Some people use chalk as well because it's easy to erase if you make a mistake or want to fix something. So all of those options are fine. And I'm using I'm using plain white paint, as I said before. So plain white, that way we can kind of easily fix up things if we make a mistake here and there, versus going in with blue and then having to cover up. That might be a little bit harder. Thanks, this is it. I appreciate it. It's like the one piece of digital art I've ever made are my emotes. Shay's just gonna spam those. I appreciate it though. I love them, even out of context. Pizza? Yep, it's pizza. You got it. That Twitch Discord connection. Welcome in, pizza. I love how Jen greeted you in the Discord. Must say, I'm a real big fan of your work. Pizza, big fan. Love the cheese. Alright, I've got white paint. First thing I'm going to do, everybody, is do the main body of the bird. So I'm going to describe kind of as an oval shape, or an egg shape, if you will. A little bit tilted, so it's not going straight up and down. I made it tilt a little bit to the left, so it's a little bit angled kind of this way, because he's kind of looking off to the left. Okay, so I'm going to go at the top of my branch, your chosen branch. Again, mine is kind of about a third of the way up here, and he's just going to rest a little bit on top. So I'm going to do a nice round oval / egg shape right around there. You can see how it's just slightly tilted. It's not going straight up and down. It's just going like this. And if you're worried about size, you're kind of like, I have no idea what size to make it. Oh, excuse me 1 second as I change my battery. If you're not sure what size to make it, I always recommend starting a little bit small, and then you can make it a little bit bigger as you go. You can even do some extra features as I kind of take you through, for example, the tail, the wing, the head. You can kind of see how that looks, and then you can always kind of increase all the sizes of all those things if you want it to be bigger. But I would say in general, based on, I guess, my other paintings, I would say this is a bigger bird than usual. Thanks for your patience there. All done. Cool. Yeah, just because this is the only thing on the canvas other than branches and snow, I wanted to make this bird a little bit bigger than usual. So it's resting on the branch. I would say it comes to about halfway or above half of the canvas. So it starts around here, about a third or a quarter of the way up. Goes, I would say, above half there. So that's a good kind of size reference for you there. Excuse me. So you can see I'm just very roughly putting in my oval / egg shape. Something like that. Just the body for now. Pizza! Are you gonna offer us pizza? Pizza. I start painting a thing at 2/3 scale, so when I mess it up, I can just make it bigger. There you go! Yeah, Poppy knows. Poppy knows when you make a mistake or you want to fix something, you can easily make it bigger. So if an edge is a little bit wavy, for example, or you make a little, you know, jitter of your brush on the edge, boop boop, oh no, you can just say, all right, I'll make it bigger, and then it hides. You know, it's stuff like that. Egg. Pizza in Discord. Yes. Egg pizza. We doing breakfast pizza now? No. Just cheese pizza, thank you. I'm exhausted. Pizza emote. I'm sending all my love instead. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Emojis work in Twitch chat. So if you have emojis, pizza emoji is fine. Why'd you say egg shape so quietly? I don't know. She's embarrassed of our food object obsessions. Maybe I just can't help it, Gray. Maybe it just kind of slips out, you know? I don't know. Egg. Maybe I'm like wanting to make the chaos, but also not. I don't know. I don't know. I like food. Cool. Food is good. Alright, so that's the basic body shape. You can see I'm just still playing around with it. Next thing I want to do is I want to make the head. I would call this another oval shape. I would say, if anything, though, it's a little more horizontal See how it's a little wider than it is taller? Because our blue jay is kind of snuggled in. He doesn't really have a neck. He's very much kind of snuggled into his little body. So you can either make it just on top or kind of, you know, do a half oval, doesn't matter. But I'm starting at the top of my egg shape. And I say I'm making kind of an oval more horizontally, so it's kind of going lengthwise rather than up and down. And just kind of connected as well. It's not really resting on top. Again, we want them to be nice and snuggled in. So I try my best to keep them nice and connected so they all kind of flow together like that, right? And again, these are basic shapes. I will be doing things to kind of fix up certain edges. We won't have this big indent in here. It'll all kind of flow a little naturally very soon. But again, basics for now. This is the head. To be fair, the first or second stream I saw of her painting with food. That's true. What a time that was. It was quite interesting. Egg on egg. You guys are my people. That's what Cindy said when we had our food talk, correct. Yeah, this is it. Cindy in chat, her first time coming here, she was on the Facebook platform watching me, and she goes, Twitch sounds like my people. And then she came over here and has never gone, never left. Pizza, it sounds like you and her vibe. I think that's funny. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is the tail, and then we're going to start to shape up kind of the edge and the body and everything. So here we go. The tail is just going to be using the tip of my brush. I'm just going to do some angled lines coming down to the right a little bit. I'm going to start with just kind of a thin line like that, just kind of pointing away. And then I'm going to start thickening it. So I'm just adding a few more lines pointing the same way, just kind of either side. The only difference is I'm making them a bit shorter. So you can see how the middle part kind of comes out a little bit longer. And as I get to the sides, they start to get a little bit shorter, just to give the tail a little bit of shape at the end. I like to flick my brush at the end, that way it looks nice and quite literally feathered, you know? It sees it all, or you see it all kind of separating all the little points at the bottom here. Something like that. I have one or two more things that I want to do to fix up the general shape, and then we can start to fill it in. Cindy, you're so right. Now we have fully pulled her in and made her one of us. It's true. Hambina! Peepo, hey, hello. Good late evening to you. How's it going? It's toot time. Our plan has worked. Mwahaha, pizza is now part of our tribe. Okay, another thing I want to add, which, you know, is not super necessary, but it does help me kind of visualize the whole bird, is I want to add the little hairdo right here. You see my mouse moving? It's just a small little peak of the feathers. I'll actually zoom in so I can show you nice and close. It's just like a little hairdo, you know, just a little triangle kind of flicking up. So I'm just using the tip of my brush. I'm just going to go from the left-hand side of the head and start to flick kind of up to the right just a couple times. Just giving a little bit of a hairdo. So again, kind of in a triangular shape, coming to a tip, a little bit thicker, where it starts in the head there. Just a small little hairdo. Get them styling. I won't be doing the beak because that's in black paint, and black paint will cover up gray perfectly fine. So unless you want to kind of visualize the whole bird with the beak with white, you don't really need to add that for now. Never felt so welcome. Oh! We've got Cindy, Mon Buns, Pizza, Keanu, all the major food groups. It's true. Network error. Oh, Chuck, try refreshing maybe? Little, welcome in. Little JD Juno, hello. Thank you for following. I'm doing a step-by-step acrylic painting tutorial right now. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have the error, maybe try refreshing. Yeah, I think refreshing is the answer usually. Don't forget your wife, he is a food group too. A little snack. Alright, last thing I want to do, everybody, is I just want to play with the belly a little bit. I'll zoom in again just to show you what I'm referring to. We have a little bit of separation here, so hold on, I'll zoom out a little bit. Whoa, that's very close. So to kind of separate the wing from the rest of the feathered belly here, I did a little bit of separation so you can kind of see where the wing comes in, and there's a little bit of a gap here and then a little bit more feather. Like he has a very poofy belly, a very feathery, soft belly. So I'm just going to use the white to kind of shape that out and then shape out the other wing as well, which I'll talk about in a second. So this is where the wing is going to go, what we've already done here, just this kind of curve here with the egg shape. What I want to do is I actually want to add maybe another stroke or two, just kind of a little further out. So what I'm doing is I'm curving around that oval, and I'm bringing my strokes just kind of down a little bit, separating from that egg. I can even zoom you in a little bit here if you'd like. Give me a quick second. That might be a little easier to see. There we go. So again, see how it kind of comes maybe just straight down a little bit and then it comes out like this. So we're getting some individual feathers kind of separating. That's where the belly is going to be. And then the wing is going to be in here. It's kind of like this shape in here, just so you can visualize, right? So very floofy, feathery belly, and then the wing will go in here, kind of tucked into that egg shape we've already done. So just a couple strokes coming down, kind of flicking out before you reach the edge here. So you're creating that little bit of separation. Phew! Oh, I'm glad you're back, Chuck. Sometimes just hit F5. Yeah, sometimes if my internet bonks out even for a quick second, Twitch won't refresh, so it's just my job to refresh it, and then it seems to work, so. Refreshing seems to be the key. All right, and then I want to just shape up this side a little bit more. Same thing, you can kind of see here. If it will stay. Yep, see how the feather, not the feather, excuse me, the wing on the right, same thing, it kind of separates at the bottom right area there. I'm going to move this over here. There we go. Little bit of a gap in here, just so you're kind of pulling down some more strokes a little bit separate from that oval or egg shape, so you get to see the tip of that wing. So I'm just going to come around that edge I already have. And same thing, kind of just add a little bit of separation for a little wing right here. It's just kind of hugging nice and close by. TLS, thank you for the follow and welcome in. Alright, so that's the general shape I have. At this point, it still probably won't look really like a blue jay because it's all white. We don't see all the nice layers of the wing, for example. Yeah, all the separation of different layers of feathers. We're going to add all of that nice and slow. But for now, this is the general shape we have. You can start to fix things up if you think things look a little bit funny. For example, sometimes what I like to do is just kind of like combine shapes a little bit nicer. So right here, for example, there is a big kind of gap in between the head and the body. So I just kind of took my brush to smooth it out a little bit. It makes it look a little more, yeah, connected and tucked in. Details like these small feathers, if you see any texture like this, we will add that with the blue later, so you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, looking at all these edges, seeing how things curve around. This is a nice deep curve here. That's good. Yeah. So just take a quick moment to look at your whole blue jay. I'll zoom out just so you can see perspective again. I will fix my screen as well. And decide if you need to keep adding. Barada, Toxica, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I'm speaking to you with a brush in my mouth. I apologize. That's sometimes what I gotta do. But yeah, welcome in. That's a little better. One more thing I'll add, everybody. Sorry if I didn't clarify. Fill it in when you're done. Whenever you're happy with the shape, or even as you were doing the shape, you could be filling it in. This just helps create a nice base, a nice even base for all of our colors. You can see the white partially covers up some branches, for example. So if I had any big branches coming through that area, you can see the white kind of primes the space now. So when we add the blue, it'll cover up nicely rather than having any transparency. So just add a nice little thin layer of white. And by thin, I mean just don't cake on the paint. Don't like scoop the paint on, then blob it on. Just smooth it all out. Take your brush and kind of do some nice long strokes to smooth it all out. And then we can let it dry for just a quick minute or two, a couple minutes, let's say. Want to make sure it's nice and dry for the blue. We can even start adding some snow in the meantime if we want. We'll see how everyone's doing. Can I just say that I came to this group in very intention to start painting, but since I seem to watch Erin in every stream, I'm okay with her doing the painting for me. It's fine. Painted last weekend, forgot how fun it was. I'm going to do more painting and just being lazy getting the paints. Have I seen what you painted last weekend, Gray? I hear you. Wait, or was that our weekend? It wasn't last weekend, was it? I can't tell time anymore. It was 2 weekends ago. It was Shay, yes. Keep organizing. Old Mill, that's why I'm here. I'm teaching you so you can be a good painter. Don't doubt yourself. I'm sure you are a good painter. You just need to like learn some stuff, practice, unlock some motivation. I'm sure of it. I got you, Shay. I understand. I'm the same. I want like, you know, multiple nights a week where I'm doing this still, you know? Guys, I've never done a toot. Kicked out. What are you waiting for? True, though. Are you considering possible commissioned pet portraits once you get your website up and running? Poppy, interesting question. I've never really been comfortable with doing animals in general, pets as well. They very much freak me out because I know pets are very special to their owners, and I find a lot of trouble in like getting the likeness of a pet, you know, making it look like the pet rather than just a dog. I know many artists on Twitch. If you're looking for that, Poppy, I would love to recommend you to a few that I know. But something for me, I don't think I would do commissioned pet portraits, honestly. I'm open to commissions, but I think I just wouldn't be too comfy with it. I think I'd need to practice more before committing to it. Like, anytime, I'd love to chill and voice. Yes. Oh my gosh, please do anytime. Use any of those channels. Yeah, I can't tell time anymore either. It's all good. Yeah, that's true. You did, Cindy. I remember that one. Welcome back, Elvin. I'm glad you're back. It's all practice. Okay, I'm not sure what I have here, but it's definitely not looking like a bird. Oh no! What part specifically? Because I honestly think with this guy too, before we add the shapes of the wings and stuff, he looks a little funny. He looks very wide, right? Because we have all the individual feathers popping out here and there. So as usual, I know I say it all the time, give him a chance. We will see if he makes sense when we start to add the layers, Sharon. And then maybe as well, that'll allow you to see a little bit better, like what's wrong with it, like what's not really looking like the bird. Is it the neck? Is it the wings, the tail? We can see. No, not good, but have lots of fun. Oh, maybe eventually, old, maybe eventually. Again, it does take a lot of practice, but as long as you're having fun, I think that's important too. This is really cool. Thank you. We'll jump off to Tamara. Tamara, you're so welcome. I'm glad you're having a great time. You can recommend, but it's more special if you are the one paying them. Okay. We can maybe chat a little bit, but again, yeah, I'm being honest. I'm not too comfortable with doing pets. I can always take a look, but I don't know what I would see in it that I would be like, oh, that's fine. Honestly, I'm just throwing it out there. Animals scare me enough. Pets are like a whole other ball game. Yeah, Shay, like, please, if you want to spearhead that, if you have a day that you want to just anytime, just like tag people, tag here, and I bet people would join in. I can't type and paint, I speak. Not many of us can type and paint, Sue's mama. That's a skill. Mine looks like he's falling off the branch, as my friend B-Rad. Maybe, is he falling off, like, too low or too high? Maybe just kind of connecting him a little bit more. Like, I don't even do feet. I just kind of make sure he's floating kind of on top of the branch like that. So maybe just adding a little more white right on top. I think when we start to add the colors, he'll look a little more securely on there. But in the meantime, you can maybe bring that oval down just a little bit. So it looks like he's kind of, again, the feet would be hidden on the other side, but he's resting on the branch. I think it may be too fat, or it might be too straight up and down. I see. It's not learning. I'm not sure how to fix that. It's not leaning. I see. Maybe, well, if you don't like the width already, that might be an issue, because I was going to suggest widening it from the left, because that will make him look like he's tilting a bit. So right now he's probably more straight up like that, but if you start to round out this side, that'll help make him look tilted. And then I guess what you can do, Sharon, just to avoid him getting even larger, use the gray to carve out the right-hand side. Use the gray to kind of add more of a gap in here, especially because that'll remove the top of the straightness here. If you have the oval up here, you want to get rid of it with gray up here, and then that way it'll tilt a bit. I think that's what you want to do there. Typing painting is impossible. What about fish? What about fish? Painting fish? Yeah, fish are kind of a different thing. But most fuzzy animals, let's say, are there fuzzy fish? Hop into the void. Pink channels. Yeah, exactly, Shay. I think that's fine. Yeah, tag here a couple times. I think that would be fine. It's like start off the side. Interesting. Maybe if you move the branch, maybe you can connect the branch a little bit better, like kind of moving it to where you want it to connect to the bird. Yes, there's the YouTube link. Thank you very much, Asif. There you go. Abby, welcome in. You're tired? Bot needs break. Yep. Dog's being meaty. Oh, no worries. No worries, Suze. You're fine. How many inches tall? Ooh, I don't really do well with inches. I was estimating that he starts about 1/3 of the way up and he goes just above halfway. Wish I had a measuring tape. I try not to do measurements just to make it not that exact, but yeah, I would say he starts about 1/3 of the way up, goes to just about half. This is a 16 by 20, 20 inches. Does he take up 1/3? He's probably 7 to 6 inches is my guesstimate. If the fish are fuzzy, they are likely sick. Oh dear. Think of chickens that look like they're wearing fuzzy pants when fuzzy fish are mentioned. Alright, so we're still waiting for the white to dry. I'm just kind of checking mine. It is still a little sticky, so just want to make sure everybody's blue jay is dry. So in the meantime, let's add some snow just so we're not continuing to wait here and then kind of delaying all the other steps. I'm sure the branches are dry enough that we can start to add some snow. So let's start with that. So I'm going to keep using my medium round brush, and I'm taking nice big piles of white paint. For this step, I really like to scoop the paint on my brush. I have lots of paint resting on my brush tip there. And what I like to do is I like to add little piles of snow on the foreground branches. I don't do every single branch. You can see there's some that are a little bit blank with no snow, but if I see any that are mostly horizontal or maybe have a little bit of a crevice in between two twigs, I try and fill that with some snow. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to look for horizontal spots to begin with, so maybe right here. And all I do is I just kind of drag my brush along with all of that paint on it, and then it comes off in a nice little blob. And that's exactly what I want for the piles of snow. I want it to be very blobby. Once I get most of the paint off of the brush, then I use the tip just to make a little bit of a thin tip on the side here. Thin tip on the side here, so it looks like the snow is just kind of decreasing a little bit. And then that's my pile. So again, a nice thick, wide center. I kind of use my tip to kind of move left and right, and then that way it looks like it kind of tapers off. And then that's my pile. So again, I personally like to continue to just stack paint on my brush to do that. If you want to go a little bit slower, you don't need to stack paint on top. You can just use little bits of paint at a time, kind of shaping the snow piles the way you want them. But I kind of like the idea of just kind of letting them pile, you know? It kind of looks, in my opinion, a little more natural if you're kind of laying it on like a big pile of snow would lay on a branch. So I'm just going on, again, any of the foreground branches, so that's the black ones. Any spots that I see are horizontal or have a little crevice for snow. I'm just adding as much or as little as I like. I like to add some kind of by my bird here. There we go, maybe a little over here. And again, I'm not adding absolutely everywhere. I'm just going to keep adding until I like the amount of snow that I see. Watching you make these snow piles is extremely soothing. Yay! It looks effortless. Yay! I'm so glad. Yeah, that's why I like the technique, Shay. It kind of is, once you kind of get it down, it is pretty effortless, just piling, because it's literally piling it on your brush. And just, I'm using almost no pressure as well, just kind of dragging along. It just piles off, you know? I think that's why it looks nice, because it is quite literally piling. It's not me making the shape of a pile, other than the ends. I'm, of course, kind of tapering the ends out a little bit. But it's almost like it just lays down naturally like a pile would. And another good part, too, if it ever gets too thick, maybe the snow kind of overlaps the black a little too much or makes the branch disappear, you can either leave it and pretend that that's just the snow kind of, again, overlapping and getting a little too heavy for the branch. Or you can wait for the snow to dry and you can re-add the black wherever you want. So if you want to bring the branch back forward or kind of on top of the snow, you can use black once the white is dry and you can fix up whatever you need to. Again, if it helps you to use a smaller brush here and there, maybe for smaller little twigs, feel free to switch at any time. Ghost bird vibes are nice too. True! We can just leave him as is. He's a little ghosty. No, you aren't done with it, but a wild marshmallow ghosty bird is cute. I like that. I really like that, Poppy. He's my little marshmallow bird. Little ghosty. Maybe a pile over here. You can see I especially like to stick to where things are curving as well. I like the idea of like a larger pile being right in the little crevice where it kind of starts to curve into a different direction. I think that makes sense that there'd be like a larger pile of snow in a little crevice like that, so that's why I stick to those spots as well. I'll keep adding a little more. So I'll avoid this branch, for example, because it's going pretty far down. I don't imagine snow would be really stuck anywhere, maybe in a crevice by the branches, but branches like this I'm just going to leave empty. Sorry, no snow for you. Someone tell me a good scary movie I can watch on Netflix. I don't know what's on Netflix anymore, Abby, so I'm not good at suggestions. Every time I think I know what's on Netflix, it ends up disappearing. Can't keep up. Can we name it Marsha/Marshall? Yeah! Marshall. Marshall the marshmallow bird. That's a cute name. Let's do a little bit down here. And I'm doing the snow piles now, everybody, but I think I'll leave the falling snow for after, just because I like to put a little bit of falling snow on top of my blue jay for perspective reasons. If you are bored and you feel like adding some little dots of snow for now, you certainly can. It's a pretty straightforward step, but I will leave that for the end of mine, just in case anyone's wondering. Don't do scary movies, can't be of help. Oh no. I know there's some in here who like their scary movies, but again, keeping up with Netflix is a whole other ballgame. I'm a big scaredy cat. Oh. I took a glance and the only one I've seen is Blair Witch. Ah, which I like to assume most everyone has seen. I actually haven't seen it. Surprise, surprise! Haven't seen a movie? What? Anywhere else? Maybe a little up here. Don't want to overload it. Again, if you're ever wondering if you should add more, sometimes the answer is no. Just let it be for a little bit. You can always add more later. So maybe I'm at that stage. I'll just let it rest a little bit. I'll give you guys another minute or two, and then we'll go into the blue jay. We'll start to fill in the blue jay with all the beautiful layers and colors. I've got a nice step-by-step process for which colors at which time to add. There's a great competition series on Netflix called Blown Away. Oh, glass blowing. Oh, those are so satisfying to watch. Oh man, I'm surprised it took them that long to make a show out of that, because I know I'm not the only one who likes the YouTube videos of glass blowing. So cool, Mish. I'm definitely gonna check that out. Erin hasn't seen a popular movie? Unheard of. Yeah, Carol, no worries. I can do that one more time for you. I'm using the medium round brush. I'm doing a nice big scoop of white on the brush. So here's a nice big pile on there. And then what I do is I pretty much just lay down that pile on top of the branch. I can show you here if it's maybe, well, no, I'll just bring this closer. Why would I do that? Here, maybe I'll add some right here. I'm just kind of letting it blob on very messily. So it comes off in a nice little sausage-like shape. And then what I do is I taper out the edges a little bit, so I make a nice thin tip over here, thin tip over here, and that makes it look like it's more of a pile because it's kind of becoming thinner on the two edges there. And that's really all there is to it. You're just kind of picking branches that are a little bit horizontal or have a little bit of a crevice maybe as it curves. And yeah, I'm using the foreground branches for that one. Oh, it's already great. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're loving it. Great show, says Lori. My family jokes about how lumpy I am already. I don't need any more scary fuel. Is the white because used on gray and black branches, or an off-white gray used on the gray black? The white that I'm doing now, it's pure white gray. It's pure white. I'm sorry, that's confusing. Your name is Gray. Great to be me. Oh, I see you. Great. Okay. It's pure white that I'm trying to use. So jumping I still love horror. Blair Witch, an hour and a half of watching grass grow. Terrible movie, says Ecstasy. Interesting. Master Chief, and nice to see you. An evening stream from you that I can watch. Yes! Yeah, I've been trying some evening... Sasha Snow, I see you. I panicked. I was like, what is this shape? It's a sausage. Yeah, Master Chief, and I'm trying to incorporate some more evenings. I obviously do these tutorials pretty much every Friday, but I've been trying Tuesday evenings too, so maybe that will work for you too. But I'm so glad you're here. Welcome in. 2 seasons of Blown Away. Cool. Last blown show on Netflix. Taped in Hamilton. Oh, really? No way, says Sherry. Taped in Ontario, local. Former Brave. Wonder if it was in Ontario. Huh. I'm in Ontario. Musical Mama. Hello. I'm in Southern Ontario. Yeah, you're welcome, Carol. Hint, watch first season first. Cool. Barry. Yeah, lots of locals around here too in the chat. I may have saved this painting. Thanks for your help. Oh, you're welcome. Very good. Very good. I'm glad. Yeah, sometimes it's just about cutting off an edge, adding a little more. I'm so glad, Sharon. And of course, when we add the colors, you'll be able to kind of alter it and just kind of shape it up a little bit more to kind of overlap things that you need to. If you need to move things over, you can do it with the blues. Personally love the long eerie build-up. Eastern Ontario. It's not good for self-preservation. Oh, Silent, I didn't know you were in Calgary. Very cool. Oh, I didn't know that too, Charlene. Very neat. I saw a commercial for that mission. I wasn't super intrigued by it, but maybe it's just not for me. Or maybe I'll give it a chance. I don't know. Bridgerton. Yeah, I wasn't super into the commercial that I saw. Yeah, we're learning lots about where things are filmed. All local in Ontario. Good things grow in Ontario. What do you know? All right, it's Blue Jay time, everybody. I'm going to start with the colors of this Blue Jay. I want to bring him nice and close up so you can see all the beautiful colors and layers as I describe them to you. I'll start zoomed out on mine, just again so you can kind of see perspective. If we find that we need to zoom in, I can certainly do that. But the first color that I started with was this color up here. So we kind of have more of a muted blue up here, all these nice dark to light tones, and down here is the very nice bright blue, kind of hiding underneath. So we're going to start with the more muted blue, and then we'll go down to brighter blues, okay? So I'm definitely going to switch to a teeny tiny brush now. You could switch between medium and teeny tiny if you want, but I'm probably going to be using the teeny tiny most of the time here just to really take my time with it. So I'm going to start with the darkest color that you see here. I like to start with my dark colors and then get lighter and lighter on top, so I'll kind of add as this is drying. But yeah, the first color is kind of on the back here. I'm circling around it. I would call this like a nice, almost indigo color. It's like a blue to blue purple, you know, it's a muted blue. So everyone's blues are probably going to be different. If you're using phthalo blue like me, then you'll probably get something very similar to what I'm about to mix. But just keep in mind, depending on what shade of blue you have, what tone of blue rather, there's like ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, lots of different blues. It might be slightly different than the colors you're seeing, but I'm sure you can get something close. So what I'm going to do to obtain the blue that I have in my original is I'm using phthalo blue, and I'm actually mixing a tiny bit of red in there. The tiny bit of red is going to mute the blue a little bit, so it's not quite as bright, because again, we want to save the bright blue for on the bottom of the Blue Jay. At the top, we want to use more of a muted blue. So a little bit of red. You can see it kind of turns it into a bluish purple color. And I am adding just a tiny bit of white to it. Not much. You can see it brightens it up just a little bit. I just don't want it to be the darkest blue ever, and the more red you add, the more kind of dark it gets, I find. So I mixed a tiny bit of white in there as well. So again, tiny bit of red, tiny bit of white, just to create more of a muted blue. I changed my mind already. I am going to zoom in here so you can really see the bird. I think that'll be much better. There we go. So this muted blue, I'm going to keep calling it a muted blue. I'm adding kind of on the head and the top half of the Blue Jay. So here it goes on top of the white. You can see how it's coming off. Not super bright, but at least it's super even. We're not seeing any of the branches showing through, so that's great. And I'm first filling in the top, like the head area. And I'm going to move down into kind of the back. Kind of the first third of the back, I would say. So you can fill that all in. Even if you see like some little light spots, maybe right here, for example, we're going to add that on top later. So for now, we're just doing a nice big base of this muted blue. So again, if there were any bumps or lumps or anything you want to change, you can now use this blue as you're kind of going along the edge to help shape things up a little bit, make things bigger, carve them out a little bit cleaner, whatever you need to do. This is where you can really take your time with that kind of stuff. Hellraiser, trying to tell my coworkers really scared. Mississauga, Ontario too. See, lots of locals. It's so nice to see. Like, I love both aspects. I love the idea that we are kind of worldwide. There are people joining from all over the world when we do these things, but just being in Ontario, it's kind of cool to be like, oh, there are many of us here in Ontario painting along. Canada as well. French to the south as well. Again, it's all lovely. I was just adding the little feathers for the hairdo, so just flicking my brush on top of the white paint. And as you're adding the blue, you can kind of, again, add a little bit of a feathery texture along the edge. You don't need to do these kind of harsh, clean edges. What I like to do is I like to add a little bit of feathering. So I use the tip of my brush and I just kind of flick a little bit outwards as I'm going around an edge. Flick, 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 and that creates some little feathers. I'll zoom in even further so you can see that a lot better. Give me a quick second. See those little feathers here? So I was just using my brush, and as I was going around, I was kind of flicking a little bit outwards. It creates just a little more texture there. You can do that wherever you like. I like going along the back for that. Again, you don't need to do it everywhere, just wherever you want. And again, you can see I'm bringing this muted blue down the back of the bird. I'm actually going to switch brushes personally. Sometimes I find that small brush, you can kind of see it happening, how my brush strokes, because there are so few bristles, it kind of moves the paint around a bit. It kind of allows you to see all those small brush strokes. If I want to keep it so that it's a nice, smooth, kind of consistent color, more bristles are better. So you can see how if I rub my medium brush on top, it kind of removes all those brush strokes. So if you're not liking those individual brush strokes that your small brush is using, you can always come in with the medium size or a bigger brush and just kind of smooth things out so you get more of a consistent color. You can either keep using it or you can keep switching back and forth. Sometimes the small brush is good for, yeah, the feathering, adding small little areas, just being careful. Then you can kind of come in with this brush to clean things up a little bit and to smooth it all out. Okay, with the blue, I'm also trying to shape out where the wing will be, so please note what I'm doing here. I'm kind of curving around and starting to kind of cut in, so I'm leaving a little bit of white space here. That's what this space is here. I'll be using gray and white to kind of do that little feather on the feathering on the stomach there, but for now I'm trying to shape out the wing, so I curved around and in a little bit. We will complete the wing with black later, but I'm just starting kind of the shoulder of the wing. And then I'm just kind of brushing down the back a little bit longer. Just watched It Takes Two and realized it's filmed in Muskoka. Oh, fun. That makes sense, actually, all the camping scenes. So you did watch that. That's funny. I know you were talking about it recently. Side of St. Mary's, Ontario, New Stratford. I'm in Georgia. They're calling for 2 inches of snow. Really? Tonight? Tomorrow? When is that? That's so cool. I'm going to look into that. Just bring it down a little bit more. And same thing, I like to feather the bottom. See how I'm just flicking my brush at the bottom? Keeping it a little bit more kind of separated. That's nice there. Alright, so that's the first color. I'll give you a quick minute to add, and then we're going to actually add the lighter versions of those colors right on top as this is still wet. So we can kind of quite literally feather it in, blend it in. Relate, startle response pretty intense. Does not take much to surprise me. We are startled buns. Thanks, I'm calling night. We'll be back another time. Sounds good, Jay Height. Again, it was so nice for you to pop in. Say hi to T. Newman for me and the King Me crew if you're visiting them. It was really nice to see you here. BRB, no worries, Jay. Alright, so quick minute. Keep adding that base color of the muted blue. What we'll be doing next again is just the lighter versions, lighter features in the face. There's a little bit of a lighter muted blue on the wing as well. So if you want to prep for that, I'm just going back to my small brush because we're going in an even smaller area now. I'm adding a little bit of white to my existing muted blue just to create a lighter version of what we have. And we're going to use that to, yeah, put on top of our existing blue. We're going to do this shade and then a slightly lighter shade just to really highlight it on top. So again, a little bit of white in your existing muted blue. So I had this to begin with. Now I have more of that color, more of a medium tone. I'm going to use the teeny tiny brush, as I said, and I'm going to start from the left-hand side, and I'm just going to start flicking over to the right. So I'm just kind of highlighting where the facial features will go. I'm going to add a little more white because I can see that's barely showing up on my canvas here. You might need to lighten it more than you think because this blue paint is still a little wet. So as you brush it on, it might turn a little bit darker than what you see on your plate because it's mixing with the wet blue, right? So that's what I did. I just kind of lightened it a little bit more and now it's a more accurate color once it mixes. But you can see I'm just doing small little strokes, stroke, 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 just like quite literally feathering it on. I'm not covering the whole head. I'm leaving some of the original blue kind of around the top and the right-hand side. And I'm bringing it down to about where the neck would be. So if you want to just kind of see where the neck is here, it's where the head obviously meets the body. So I'm stopping around the neck area. So right around there. So that's just one layer of two. We will add a nice, very light layer on top. So if you think it looks pretty subtle right now, that's kind of the point. We don't want this to be super light on top of the blue quite yet. It's just kind of the transition color. I also like to add a little bit kind of on the shoulder. So remember I was talking about the shoulder of the wing that we kind of curved around. I just do a couple little strokes kind of curving around that top of the shoulder here. And then I like to do a couple just individual very thin streaks, maybe near the bottom here. You can kind of see in my original. Right in here, for example, it just gives a nice little highlight. Just again adds a nice little extra layer. Gives some more depth to the feathers. Yeah, not as much of a section, more so just individual strokes, so it starts to look a little more detailed. All right, so that's the first shade of blue, or the second shade of blue rather. And then, if you haven't guessed, we're just going to add even more white to that existing blue to make a third shade, a nice light shade to kind of pile right in here and right on the top of the wing. So I'm just taking my teeny tiny brush, mixing a little bit of white on top of my existing blue, and I'm going to very, very sparsely put this on. I don't want this to be a big pile because it's so light. I'm just doing kind of, again, individual feathers, brush, brush, brush. Closer to the left-hand side, less so on the right-hand side. And then I like to add, again, a little bit extra on the shoulder. It's like we're really highlighting that shoulder so we can really see the separation from the wing versus the neck and body area. Looks like I added a little bit up here too, so I'm just gonna add a couple little feathers kind of up by the hairdo where it might be highlighted at the top. Sometimes, often, I wish I could zoom a painting IRL while doing detail work instead of just leaning in super close. Wouldn't that be cool? Future things, you know? Doctors being able to play with our eyes to do a zoom feature? That would be pretty wild. Future. Yeah, thankfully I work on slightly, again, 16 by 20 is a little bigger, so I don't often feel that poppy, but I understand. To a point, there are some times where I wish the same. Alright, so that's our three colors up here. That's kind of the base of what we have. I might actually lighten up my last color a bit, just comparing it to my original. It doesn't look quite as light, so I'm going to see if it can pop off a little bit better if I do a little bit lighter. Again, up to you how light, how dark you want to make all your blues and transition colors. I'm just trying my best to match it to my original for you. Yeah, I think those are a little lighter. Okay. All right, yeah, let's keep them like that. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to move down the bird a little bit. So we have our nice bright blues now, my favorite parts. It was so cool looking at close-up photos of blue jays and kind of noticing how realistic and bright these colors were in here. I was surprised how bright they were. You know, I was like, no way, the photo's edited, but every blue jay I saw, the bright, bright phthalo blues were coming through in here. So that's what we're doing next. So I'll keep using my teeny tiny brush. I might switch back to my medium brush just to help smooth things out again, as I was describing before. But now what we can do is go straight into the phthalo blue. So again, specifically I'm using phthalo blue. If you apply your color and it doesn't look as bright as this, that might be just because you have a different shade of blue. So yeah, I would, if you like how bright this is, I would try your best to find a phthalo blue if your blue isn't working out. Otherwise, just use the blue you have for now. You can always maybe make a second version once you obtain a brighter blue to use, but you can see how, even though the color's still kind of dark, it comes off so nice and bright. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm now adding phthalo blue below the muted blue. I am sticking it all along the back. I'm still trying to leave this belly area free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry this wing down like this. So I'm just kind of using that little start of the wing we had here, and I'm using my phthalo blue to come down like that. So I'm kind of recreating the shape of the egg there on the inside edge and leaving this belly exposed. Everywhere else though, you can start to do phthalo blue. Yeah, just double checking. Yes, everywhere else. Again, there are spots where there's black existing or lighter blues. We're just going to go on top with those colors. So you can just use this as a nice base for everywhere right now, other than that belly. I already wear glasses. Make them zoom! True, you can make the glasses zoom. Why am I saying eye surgery? Just make some cool zoomy glasses. You're so right. We did all that flicking work. You can do the same work with the phthalo blue flicking upwards, and then that way you still get some nice kind of feathery textures where the two blues are meeting. Because I imagine that this blue is kind of overlapping the other blue, so as long as they're kind of feathered on top of one another, I think the darker blue will naturally look like it's kind of on top. And if I didn't make clear, I am trying my best to cover up any and all white, of course, right? So if you have any white around the edges, I'm just using the blue to cover that. Make sure everything's nice and clean. There we go. And James! erinbunpaints and friends, oh, get out of here. Welcome in. Your name is the one with famous in it. Famous Jameis. Nice blue jay. Thank you! We're getting there with him. We're just starting to fill in the nice, beautiful, bright blues. Thanks for shouting out, James. No probs. Hello, hello. Nick Cage can probably find you some zoomy glasses. True. Same thing, just kind of flicking my brush to get that nice feathered texture on the tail too. Just flick, 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 flick. Overlapping my white. Oh, that's a little dry. Just adding a little more paint to clean that up. And again, same thing. I just like to use the medium-sized brush to kind of smooth things out. So you can see here, very streaky when I use the medium brush. It helps really smooth it all out. You can even add a little more paint on your brush if you like, but just to be safe, I'm just trying to be cautious with the smaller areas. I'm just going to use the brush and smooth all the paint together so it looks a little more cohesive and not as streaky. A lot of that will be covered up though, I guess just as a heads up. When we start to add all the details in the blue, you probably won't see the streaks as much anyway. Wear grandma glasses, says Vonda. If y'all ever see me painting with massive lighted magnifying glass mounted to the table, you'll know I've let myself go too far. Yeah, just for details, you're fine. Didn't someone post like a machine or a device for, why am I mixing this up? It was for it was for replicating an image or something like that onto a paper. That was a lot. That was some futuristic technology. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to add the nice details of the blue. So you see all these light blue little streaks in here, some little light blue feathering in the tail. We're going to do that first, and then we can put the black on top and kind of shape up the wings and the tips of the wings and the tail as well here. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the teeny tiny brush. And I'm just going to mix white into some phthalo blue. And that's going to create a very, very vibrant blue. This nice kind of glowing blue that you see here. Beautiful color. Phthalo blue and white. So this is kind of the distinct pattern that you see on the blue jay in the nice bright blue area. So I'm just using the teeny tiny brush. And again, we will add the black later, so you'll get all this separation later. So don't worry for now about where the black is going, because you can always use the black to just go on top of these little patterns, and that's okay, they'll be hidden underneath. But I'm pretty much using the tip of the brush here. I kind of wiped it on the edge of my plate so it's a little more square. Can you focus, camera? Can you do it? It's trying. Maybe not. Not today. All right, that's fine. Yeah, I wiped it on the edge of my plate. And that way it'll make a little bit more like rectangular or square strokes because there's now a thin edge. When I use that edge, that flat edge, and I pull down, creates this little rectangle shape. And that's what I want to do all over the back. I want to do all these little rectangles kind of coming down the back of the blue jay. I like to do them in little rows, so you can see I did a quick little row there. I'll do another row right beside. Picking up more of my light blue. Another row. And they're all just traveling down the bird, so kind of following the shape, right? As they get closer to the edge, they might start to kind of curve more in a little bit. Again, some of these might get covered up, and that's okay. I just add them for now, so they're all there. And I go on the right-hand side too. So again, there will be a big black stripe here, so I'll just leave a little gap if you want to fill it up just in case you can. But I'm going to leave a little gap, and I'll start to add more kind of coming down to the left this time, again following the shape of the bird, right? They're all kind of coming down to the left with the curve of the right-hand side. Something like that. So those are all there, and we'll start to again kind of split it up with black in a little bit. But one more thing we want to do with the light blue is I just want to add some to the feather, some little streaks to the feather, or the tail, excuse me. Some streaks to the feather. No, we're going to the tail. So again, the black will start to separate the sections. So for now you can be nice and messy, but I'm just doing some longer, thinner streaks with my blue. So I'm just kind of piling it on top of my phthalo blue, just so you get some little layers of feathers here. Again, what we'll do is we'll use the black to add little stripes. For now, we're just putting that light blue everywhere, and we can cover it up as we add the black. So again, small little thin streaks coming down the feather just to add another layer on top. Like the lighted magnifying glass I use. Oh, you use one already, Silent. You're ahead of the game. I use it for painting miniatures. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Cross stitch with one, get hyper focused on details. Right. I've seen a couple artists on Instagram show some painting a tiny. Yes, who does that? A Rice Girl. If anyone sees a Rice Girl on Twitch, she does amazing, like, tiny paintings, beautiful. Exactly, you don't really realize until you see them streaming, and you're like, oh, the hand is huge compared to the painting. Smear my snow down my gray. Oh, no. Oh, okay, so you can just wait for the snow to dry, Suze, and then you can put gray on top. That'll cover it right up. Okay, once we have those little patterns and details on, you can start to add the black. So I'm dipping my my brush in the black paint here, my teeny tiny brush, and I'll lead you through exactly where it goes. I'm going to keep going in the wings first, and then I'll move up to the face because we have some black in the face as well. So first what I do is I like to focus on the wings, so we're kind of creating the wings here. You can see black begins kind of on the top left edge of this wing up here. So this left-hand wing gets some black just brushed along the edge. So I'm just taking small little strokes and brushing around that left-hand edge, just piling on top of what I have, right? No worries if you need to overlap things. So this just carves out the shape a little bit nicer. I do the same thing for the right-hand side of the wing. So that's going to be just a little bit further over around this area. And again, just kind of brushing downwards because the wing is kind of tucked in. Just small little strokes of black. Brushing down, down, down. It might mix a little bit with your blue, but I just keep piling a little bit more and it will cover up, or you can let it dry if you want it to be a very clean black, but I kind of like it mixing a little bit personally. And then you use the black to shape out the tip of the wing. So the tip of the wing kind of curves a little to the right, again, very tucked in. So I'm just kind of letting those two lines meet now and just kind of filling in the tip with more black here. So again, we ended up covering some of the pattern, that's okay, but we're starting to see the wing take shape. So again, kind of like it's just resting, tucked in on the left-hand side. So yeah, coming to a little bit of a tip. You can even brush out a couple little individual strokes if you want to look even more feathery, so kind of brushing out to the right, for example. There you go. Pip the Rabbit, thank you for following and welcome in. Carving grains of rice, yeah. True too, Poppy makes a good point. In nature, the snow might fall off here and there. There you go. Where's his bird feeder? I didn't add one. We can always add one later though. Customize your painting, give him a little bird feeder. All right, for this wing on the right, I don't really frame anything. I just kind of do the tip of the wing. So same thing, just doing small little strokes covering up the blue. I'm gonna travel kind of up the wing this time. So I'm kind of leaving the tip of the wing down here, again, very tucked in. Just slowly doing a couple streaks going upwards. And that's about it. Again, I'm not going all the way up this time. You can kind of see just the tip of the wing and understand that the wing is more hidden this time because it's on the right-hand side. He can't eat yet. Pip, thank you, love this. You're very welcome. I'm doing a step-by-step acrylic painting tutorial right now. We're very much into the tutorial at this point, but I do this like every Friday. So if you like this whole process and the idea of learning and following along or just listening along, then yeah, I'll be doing this next Friday again. Another spot I add black is kind of in a stripe down the middle. It's not really carving out anything, it just adds a little bit of darkness right down the middle of the bird, so it kind of starts in the middle, curves downwards, same thing, just kind of stroke, stroke, stroke to make it nice and feathered. Leaving a little tip at the end. He's posing. He doesn't have a beak yet. True, he can't eat. Can't eat at all. So we have that little stripe. Continue with the black. I just like to, again, add the little black stripes to the tail. Looks like my tail's a little shorter than the original, but that's okay. So all I do for that is I just add small little vertical strokes all in a lineup. Like that. So there's one little row of them. I'll leave a gap. I'll do another little row. So small strokes all up and down, but all squished together, traveling from left to right. I'll try and fit in one more row there. Again, this is a tiny tail compared to my other. You can always lengthen your tail if you ran out of room, but I'm just going to keep them like that. So he has little stripes going down. Again, they're not, they're not like perfect edges, right? The reason I'm doing all the vertical strokes is to make them look more feathered and more scattered, right? I don't want them to be just stripes. It's his racing stripes. They fly faster. Pip, that's awesome. I paint with acrylics as well. I mainly paint landscapes. I use colored pencil when it comes to animals. Ah, I love landscapes too. It's not often that I do animals, honestly, because they intimidate me, but a lot of people were requesting a bird recently, so I wanted to do a nice blue jay, but yeah, I often do landscapes too. So we're on the same wavelength there. All right, the remaining black details are in the face, and then we just have some grays to add here and maybe a little dot of white when we're adding the snow, and then we're all set. So let's add the beak. Again, we were saying he can't eat quite yet, so let's give him a little beak to eat with. So I'm just using black paint on my teeny tiny brush. I'm doing a nice triangle pointing directly to the left. It comes into the face a little bit, so by that I mean it kind of overlaps into the face. It doesn't stop right at the edge. You can see I started very small. That's my usual strategy. Start small. You can always make it bigger if you think it needs to be bigger. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making it a wee bit bigger. That's probably fine. So just a nice elongated triangle. Now he can eat. Hooray! Good job, bird. Natalie's Art Nook, welcome back! Hello all, I am late to the party. Oh, that's okay. That's alright, you get to see the most exciting part. We're just putting together the final touches of the blue jay, so welcome in. How's your night going, Natalie? I'm gonna add the eye, and then I'll do all the little markings around the eye. I think it's a little bit easier to put the eye on first, just for reference and orientation. So the eye I describe as an almond shape. I like using an almond to describe a lot of different elements in paintings. This almond has the two tips on either side, so it's like a horizontal lying down almond. But yeah, we start at a tip, we do a nice curve up and back down. Oh, he's like, oh, it looks like he's smiling now. I kind of want to leave him, but I won't. If anyone wants to leave him smiling, oh my gosh. He looks so cute. Anyway, I'm going to do a curve on the bottom. Oh man, dang. And that's a little almond shape eye. One tiny detail is I do a little bit of a black line extending from the right hand side. It's just like a nice little, almost like an eyelash in a way, or just maybe a little extra marking on the eye. It's a nice little thin line coming out to the right. Very fun. How long have you been painting for? I would say realistically, more seriously, the past 6 years, Pip, but technically like all my life. I've been watching Bob Ross since I was a wee young child and doing art here and there all my life, but more seriously, I would say in the past 5-6 years. Pretty snowy, just finished shoveling some. Oh yeah? On Twitch, can you watch these from start? Oh yes, you can, Natalie, yeah. You can even watch it as it's airing. If you click my name right now, erinbunpaints on the bottom left, you can click the videos tab, and you can click this video as it's airing. You obviously won't be able to chat with me live, but you can watch what I've been recording up until this point. Thanks, Pip. I have a black branch right where I need to put the beak. What do I do? Oh, good question. You could put the black on top and then maybe add a little bit of a highlight of gray just to kind of outline it to make it pop off of the branch. Or you could choose to cover up the branch. I would probably go with the first suggestion because I would think covering up a whole branch would be a little bit messy, Carol. So again, I would use black, put the beak on, and then when we do the light gray, I'm going to do some gray for the feathers here. Use the light gray to kind of either outline it or just try using it for the top of the beak or the bottom edge of the beak. And I think that'll be enough to kind of separate from the branch. Yeah, exactly, Pip. I agree. So I have my eye, so I just have a couple markings left to do. When I was studying kind of Blue Jay photos, I noticed they have a little bit of like a black blob right here. No reasoning, it's just a little marking, like cardinals have their little black markings. These guys have their markings too. So this one's just kind of right above the beak coming down to the right. It's just I describe it as a blob. I just took my brush and went blob. That's that one. Maybe a tiny highlight. Yeah, that's exactly what I suggest. Good job, James. I agree. Me too. Bob Ross is my inspiration. Yeah, he's on my easel. You can't see him. I'm trying to lift him up, but I have a little laminated Bob Ross. I have a Bob Ross calendar. We have Bob quotes in the chat. If you do command Bob quote, we have a lot of different things that pop up. We love him. Oh, his classic. His absolute classic. We don't make mistakes. We just make happy accidents. What a guy. Okay, one last little black detail here, and then we have some gray to add, just using the tiny brush with black paint, kind of like right to the right-hand side of the little hairdo. I'm doing a nice angled, thick line in, and then it kind of curves around the eye, and just kind of ends behind the little shoulder of the wing. So I bring it down to the shoulder and just stop where the highlight begins there. Again, it's just a little bit of a distinct marking on the bird, at least from what I saw when I was looking up photos. So again, coming straight down, curving around, going behind that little wing. So just little facial features. All right, I've got like 2 more steps left. We have gray and then we have white to add. That's where the crows will sit, but we'll have to put an elevator to put them up there because they can't fly, but they don't know that, so they still try. They say everything looks better with odd numbers of things, but sometimes I put even numbers just to upset the critics. Erin quote, I just took my brush and went blob. Very professional terminology here, thank you so much. You really have to pay attention to catch the funny stuff he says, so subtle but hilarious, it's true. La Painter, hi, what's going on? TJ. Yes, this is an excellent example of air quotes. Thanks, guys. You're really looking out for me that way. We will make it happen. All right, let's get to the last little part of the Blue Jay here. We do have a little white to add to the Blue Jay, but that'll be kind of combined with the snow step. Nice small little details. I'll put those all together. For now, I'm mixing together what I would call a light to medium gray. So I'm grabbing a tiny bit of black, mixing into a pile of white, medium to light gray, about right here. And I'm just adding this in a few little spots. So first of all, I'll point out with my mouse, I like to add it right around here. So just on kind of the inside of the belly, almost to give a little bit of shading before the white outside of the feathering. So I'm just gonna take my gray, and just kind of brushing close to that black on top of the white. Again, just small little strokes so you get a little bit of separation in there. It makes it look a little more feathery. And again, sticking tight to the right hand edge. So I'm leaving the left hand edge nice and bright with white, and then the inside edge is just a little more shaded. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I don't know why the mod is so crazy. Sorry about that, Pip. Erin, it was really nice meeting you. I gotta get off for the night. I hope the rest of your night goes well. Thank you, you too. I'll try and catch you another time. Oh, those are so cute. Such cute emotes. Thank you, Pip. It was really nice chatting with you briefly. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow if you're interested. But otherwise, I'll just see you another time, I hope. Good quote, says Laurie. And then the only other spot I add gray is kind of in the wing here, just to give, once again, just a little more of a layered feather look. So I'm really going very sparse with these, using the very tip of my brush, doing a couple long strokes on top of the black. And that's really the only spot I do that. I was, again, just looking at a reference online, and I kind of used the highlight on the foreground wing. The background wing I just kind of left blank. So yeah, that's the process for that, just adding a little bit more gray on the edge there. And that's pretty much the blue jay. Again, the only thing that's missing is, you can see I add a little bit of white. Well, first of all, I add a little glisten in the eye. But I do add, this is not snow, this is actually, again, white markings that I add to the tips of the wing, kind of in the separated areas here. So I'll be adding that next, or after adding the snow if we need that to dry. The only other difference I'm seeing is this might be a little bit brighter. Again, I tried to brighten mine up here, and it's not quite as bright as my original. So if anyone's noticing that difference, that's just because I didn't lighten this up quite as much as I should have. But everything else is pretty much matching up here, it looks like. Maybe I could add a little more of that pattern there. It's a blank spot. But yeah, and you can always do that after too. If you kind of look at your bird and you think it looks a little dark or a little light, you can always add on more feathers on top. And that'll cover up what you have and just keep improving it. Oh, you did, Pip! Oh, that's so cute. They are adorable. Making emotes is fun. Okay, so last step. Again, a couple steps, but last color. We're just doing a few small things with white paint now. So I've got white on my teeny tiny brush. The first very straightforward thing I'll do is I like to just give a little glisten to the eye. So I'm quite literally grabbing some white paint on the tip of my brush, tapping it on kind of on the top left-hand side of the eye. It just makes him look a little more alive. It's just glistening away. It looks very cute. So I added that in there. As I said, you might want to hold off on this if your black is still wet. It looks like mine is dry based on, yeah, nothing's really coming off there. So I'm going to add my little markings now, but if you want to leave those for the very end, you can. So just using white paint, you just kind of, again, same as usual, kind of brush them on just little by little. And these white markings, there's not a lot of them, so I put a little bit near the tip of the wing here. That's kind of this part here. There's a little bit kind of on this black part going down the spine. There's a little maybe over here. So just very brief. Again, there's not a whole lot of these markings here in white, just little tiny bits kind of at the tips of things. I noticed kind of some up here. It's not really highlighting a tip of a specific object like a wing. I'm just kind of picturing maybe a layer of feathers. You know, it's kind of highlighting the maybe that layer here, and then it's layering on top. That's just what I was gathering by looking at the reference photo. Kind of little places like that, just small little bits of white, as if it's like highlighting a little layer, an edge of a layer. So that's the last little bit for the blue jay. I'm just going to highlight this shoulder a little bit better so you can see it. This step was already done, I just didn't use a light enough blue. It's just driving me a little crazy, so I'm just going to highlight a little extra here. Make him look a little similar to his brother. There we go. Much better, just that little extra bit. Okay, zooming out, we can see how he's looking. Just going to move him over. I'm gonna zoom out on mine because we just have one more step left. Adjust, adjust, adjust. There we go. All right, last step. Hopefully it's a little bit of an obvious step, but if not, we have snow to add, and I guess that's totally optional. If you like the idea of having it a little more open, like the snow has already fallen, you can leave it alone, but this was the last step for me when I was creating this painting. I kept saying I thought it looked a little bit empty. I was saying before how I debated adding a second bird at one point, and I'm glad I didn't. Instead, I said, you know what? I'm going to fill it up with snow. It's just another small thing to fill in some gaps with, and it just brightens it up a little bit more. So that's my reasoning for it. But again, it's your painting. You should do whatever you want. If you don't want a snowstorm, that's perfectly understandable. Maybe you're sick of snowstorms and you don't want one in your painting. That's fine. If you do though, I'm just piling white paint on the tip of any brush really. If anything, I prefer probably the medium round. I was picking up my small one, but it holds less paint. I like holding more paint so I can kind of blob it on in a nice little dot. So I'm actually going to use the medium round brush with lots of paint. And I literally just pop it on and off, and it creates a nice little dot. On and off, on and off. Some people like to use a little hack and they use the back end of the brush. They kind of dip and dab. Those create nice, consistent, very round flakes. I don't mind mine being a little misshapen though. I just like being able to customize that some are bigger, some are smaller, so that's why I use the bristles. If you press a little harder, you'll get a bigger snowflake, and if you press a little lighter, you'll get a smaller one. So I like to kind of switch that up as I go. Yeah, otherwise I'm just dotting these on literally everywhere. You can overlap trees, you can overlap your bird, because again, it's not like they're landing on them, they could be kind of in front of him, right? We're kind of using perspective. They might be falling in front here, so, or I guess behind him. In front of us. So I'm just gonna add these as I kind of catch up on comments here, if there's anything left. Oh, Mish, thanks Erin, I'm heading to bed. Sounds good, Mish. Have an excellent weekend. My bird looks sick! Misty, why is he looking sick? Excuse me. Is it his facial features? Is he keeling over? What's going on? Did he have a rough night? Did he eat too many worms? What happened? So again, you can see just slowly dotting these on. I really like how it fills it up. And then like I said, after you dot these on, you can kind of have a look at your whole painting, and maybe you have spaces that you want to add more fallen snow on branches. Or maybe you see the blue jay and its size or something about it you want to fix up. You can always go back and kind of play with things. That's the great thing about acrylics. You can do that with most paints, but acrylics especially, they just dry quickly, so you can go back and kind of overlap things. Start again, start fresh. That's why I like it. Use the background color to shape things up if you need to make it smaller in any way. All of that works. You're welcome, Doe. Thanks for coming back. It's nice to see you again. I had fun. Everything makes him look sick. I'm glad you had a good time. But if you want me to help you further, I can definitely do that. If you want to describe your birdie, or you can send a little photo over Facebook Messenger to my business page, like to the erinbunpaints page. I'd be happy to help you if you want to show me what's up. By the way, my unicorn painting I hated sold for $45. Guess we are our worst critic. Suze, I don't mean to make an example of you, but just for future, I prefer that my designs aren't sold, just so you know. These designs are designs that I created originally, and the main purpose of them is to be used to kind of teach people how to paint them. I would prefer in the future, if you want to give them away, that's fine. If you want to donate them, that's fine. I'll express again, I'd prefer that they're not sold. Thank you. I am excited for you, though. Especially Bottom. Phlogiston, welcome in. Thank you for hosting. Vonda, great tutorial. He's still hungry. Oh, he needs to be fattened up a little bit. He needs to be well fed. It is winter after all. They need to be nice and stuffed. It's fine. I don't know how to paint. Just have fun with it. That's perfect, Misty. If you're having fun, that's all I really can ask for. If you want help, though, just know I am here if you want to. Just realized I never finished my pie in the window painting. Oh, yeah! The only thing left is to add the pie. You know what, Phoenix? And that's one that's still on Facebook, actually. I haven't quite uploaded that one to YouTube. That was part of a string of tutorials that I guess I didn't upload. I guess I was really busy in those weeks. So anyway, if you're looking for that one, it is on Facebook, actually. So just so you know. So relatives, she insisted on paying for my time. I understand. Yeah. I understand. I'm just letting you know for next time. I'd prefer. It's just a slippery slope, Suze. I can understand that. The problem is, I've seen this happen before. People open up entire stores that are filled with my designs, and that's a little bit off-putting. So yeah, I don't want to say that I want to make an exception, but just letting you know for next time. Love. Looks like a beginner and had fun, learned a lot. Excellent. I'm glad. Pie's the most important. It's true. Something to show my grandbabies. There you go. Okay, I think there's enough snow. It's quite the blizzard in mine, so I'm good with my snow. I'm good with my snow. I've added lots and lots. I think my bird is shaped well, so I'm good with mine. I'm gonna go ahead and sign mine, because that's always the last most important step. I'm just gonna do a quick little signature in the bottom corner, and I hope you do too whenever you're done. There we go. There's a little EB for Erin Bun there. And that's the Blue Jay design. A nice fun one. Really good one. I think that was a lot of fun with the nice branchy background. Again, not too many steps. We had lots of time to kind of spend on them. So at this point, everybody, I'm fully available for questions. If you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know now. I can help you right now live while I'm here. In the meantime, though, a couple little wrap-ups before I go through the rest of the messages here. I'll put a little information about photos. I know a lot of people ask me, where can I post photos of my painting? Because they want me to see them, they want everyone to see them, and that's great. I just want everyone to share their photos. There's lots of information in the chat right now. You can go to Facebook. I like when people post in the Facebook event. I'm going to open that up for posting right now. If you try and post right this second, it's going to say admin approval only, but I'm about to change that setting. I do that to prevent scammers, in case anyone is wondering why I do that. It's because if I leave the event page open, they will flood the comment section with fake links. So allow me to edit real quick. La. Let me see. Next. Event settings, admin. There we go. All right, so that Facebook page should be updated. You're welcome to post Instagram, to Discord. We have a lovely Discord community with an art share channel. All of those work. You can tag me again, erinbunpaints. That'll ensure I see them, and it'll ensure everyone else sees them too, right? Because they'll be able to see my tags and the hashtags and all that. So it's a good way to share with everybody. Yeah, Misty, feel free to PM it, or you can just post in any of those spots. If anyone's looking for another tutorial, I'll show you what's going on next week. Next week is very close to Valentine's Day. So I wanted to make kind of a nice, a nice little cutesy romantic painting, but not too romantic. So I stuck with animals again, and I made a little beaver painting. I don't know if this is going to be for everybody, but it really spoke to my Canadian roots. A lot of us talked about otters and kind of like how they hold hands in the water and are kind of cute together. And I did a little Canadian spin by making them beavers. So I have two little beavers with little heart branches, and I even tried to do their tails in kind of a heart shape. So yeah, a little bit cutesy, but maybe that'll be appealing to some. So yeah, that'll be my, on the, I guess it's the, what day is Valentine's Day? I don't even know, 13th? It's on the Friday, whatever. I'm painting this on the Friday, on the 12th. Valentine's is the 14th, my gosh. I'm painting this on the 12th, 8 p.m. EST, so same place, same time, just next week. If anyone is looking to support me financially, I've been doing these free acrylic painting tutorials for like 6-7 months now. So for those that are looking to tip me, thank you very much. Again, tips are never expected, always just appreciated. But yeah, all the information is now in the chat. You can use Interact eTransfer, PayPal, or if you use that little Streamlabs link, Streamlabs, for context, is kind of the software that I use to stream. If you use the Streamlabs link, you'll get a little notification that pops up. All the little notifications that keep popping up when people follow and stuff, there's also a donation alert. So if somebody donates, you can see a little message that pops up, and it's a really cute little way to give back and celebrate with everybody. So feel free to use those. Again, those are just extra though, so thank you very, very much. Subscribing is a way to support me. There's information about subscribing now in the chat. Subscribing is essentially like any other subscription. You're paying a monthly fee. You can either pay once for 1 month, or you can set it up for automatically renew every month. But yeah, that is a way to quite literally support me once a month, just with a little bit of extra cash. So it's just a way to do it through Twitch automatically using a credit card, and then I get a portion of that. So that's a subscription. And if I didn't mention before, I know I did, but I'll say it again. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free. That means it's no extra cost to you, but it gives me income once a month if you choose to keep resubscribing for free. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those for you. Jenny P. Paints, welcome in. I saw you just followed. Thank you very much. I think that's all. One more time for those looking for this tutorial, where it's going to be. It will be on YouTube, usually within the next week. You can watch it here on Twitch immediately if you are just like itching to paint. Otherwise, I will upload a shorter, more condensed version to YouTube. By shorter, I just mean I cut out the first little bit of talking, the last little bit of talking. So yeah, if you like that format better, that'll be on YouTube. And I guess I'll say one more time too, if you want to hang out with me on Twitch, I'll be online tomorrow, painting again, and a lot next week. So if you want to continue to support me for free just by watching, that helps immensely. Just by anyone being here watching me, again, I explained before, but it helps Twitch recommend my channel. It helps me grow as a channel. It helps other people find me so that they can support me as well. So it's all a nice big circle of growth if you're watching me. So if you ever want to do that, pop in whenever I'm live, and that helps immensely just to have me on in the background. You don't even need to be chatting or anything, just having me on if you wish to do that. So thanks for those who continue to do that. And yeah, hope you have a good weekend otherwise. If you need to go, I understand. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you enjoyed painting.
Shh.